Chapter 1991 Prophecy. Chapter 1991 Prophecy. Who else dares to threaten my boss? The tough bull belt exploded. What a mess. Li Yuanba was like an overlord. It completely crushed everything in its path, including the powerhouse and Legend Palace. It was insanity. It was insanity. No one in the audience dared to make a sound. The people from the gods' commercial alliances were also stunned. Watching as their branch lord was struck into the void, they did not even dare to fart. Whoever went forward would die. Who dares to speak? The purple-clothed girl was also shocked in her heart. What background does this guy have? That's impossible. He looks like he hasn't seen Long Fei for a long time. He definitely isn't from the Devil Island. Where is he from then? He's only at the first level of Lower God, but is able to unleash a power that's even more powerful than the Middle God. It's too unbelievable. Who the hell are they? The young man from Legend Palace was also locked in between his eyebrows, feeling aghast. He didn't think too much about it. It was not appropriate to stay here for long. In just a moment, he had disappeared. Even if he could defeat Li Yuanba, he would still be injured. His life was much more precious than Li Yuanba's, and the reason why he came was not for Long Fei, but to the item at the auction. The appearance of the god steel was just an interlude. Compared to that, the god steel was not even worth mentioning. Li Yuanba retracted his gaze and muttered, "Looks like there's no one else. Boss, do you have anyone to deal with? I'll settle this for you. You've been fighting here for more than a month now, and there's not a single person who can do it." Li Yuanba said naively. Only in front of Long Fei would he reveal his true self. Long Fei laughed. He was smiling like an idiot. Li Yuanba played with his bald head and said naively, "Boss, what are you laughing about?" Long Fei just kept on laughing and laughing. He was happy, very happy. He couldn't help but feel delighted. Long Fei shook his head and said no. Why isn't there one? There's still one more from the Legend Palace. The purple-clothed girl turned her gaze and realized that the young man from Legend Palace had long disappeared. Nether Slave also shook his head slightly. Legend Palace could not be offended. Even if he had someone as fierce as Li Yuanba, he could not be offended, because he could not afford to offend him. Li Yuanba looked at the purple-clothed girl, then looked at Long Fei and asked sister-in-law. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Li Yuanba immediately said respectfully, "Greetings, eldest sister-in-law." The purple-clothed young girl's face flushed. She didn't know why. Hearing the two words, eldest sister-in-law, he felt a bit elated and satisfied. Nether Slave coughed lightly. The purple-haired girl immediately returned to normal. "You're not my sister-in-law. Don't call me that." "Oh." Li Yuanba laughed foolishly and said, "Not right now, but in the future, it will be the same. It's also the same if I call him in advance." Long Fei was still smiling. He walked down the stage and said, "It's been a long time since we last met. It looks like you have become more intelligent." Although Li Yuanba had been harmed by the goo once, he was always a fool. Long Fei said, "Return to my residence first. I still have a lot of things to learn." He seemed to know where the other 7 King Kongs were. I really want to know what happened to Oya. He really wanted to know whether the Sky Spirit was still so small. He wanted to know about Lin Yusheng, want to know about the Big Fatty, want to know about Uncle Black Knife, wanted to know about the dragon subduing Arhut. I want to know what happened to each of them. Is everyone here? Long Fei was pleasantly surprised. And Li Yuanba nodded heavily and said, "We will enter the primordial divine war dimension from different places and wait at different locations. Although I don't know where they are, I can feel them once I get close." The 8 King Kong's physique was very special. The 8 of them were like a community. The combined power of the 8 people could summon the incomparably strong power of heavenly tribulation. Of course, this was during the Chaos Realm's time, so it was unknown what kind of power they could summon now. "All right, it's good that you're all here." Long Fei was extremely excited. He was lacking people right now. It would definitely be difficult to find the entrance to Battleground, but what was even more difficult was finding a way to get through. With 8 King Kong, things would be much easier. Li Yuanba became more serious and said, "Boss, your father told me to tell you to be careful in everything that happens in the primordial divine war, that not only will you face powerhouse from 100,000 planes, there might also be powerhouse from other planes. He told you to keep there are fearless hearts in the gods' martial continent. The fearless heart again. Long Fei's heart trembled and said, "Is the predicted calamity still here?" Li Yuanba's mouth tightened and nodded. "He's still here, and more importantly, it can't be reversed, it can't be changed. Even if your father constantly changes your life for you, but there's no way to dodge it." Long Fei asked, "Is father still well?" Li Yuanba said excitedly, "That's great. He's now the king of hell, the ruler of hell. By the way," Li Yuanba said softly, "Boss, I won't die even now, he—" Long Fei was startled. "Damn, you're abnormal. Haha. Our 8 King Kong's journey of cultivation in the infernal realm is entirely dependent on Uncle's care, and he also activated our strength. Uncle said, the 8 of us are 8 heaven pillars from the ancient world. How can the insignificant 100,000 planes stop our footsteps?" Li Yuanba laughed foolishly. "Although I don't know what ancient world is and what the 8 heaven pillar are, it sounds very awesome, right?" Haha. He had a silly look on his face. However, Long Fei's heart was greatly shaken, as though a great wave had flipped the heavens. Ancient world. The Dragon Manor and his mother's clan Mu clan were both families in the ancient world, but how powerful was the existence of the 8 heaven pillar in the ancient world? F***ck me. That's abnormal. I like it. Long Fei was excited. "Miss, why don't you stop talking to them?" Nether Slave looked at the purple-clothed girl who was watching them from the window and said, "Hearing their conversation, we will definitely know the identity of that big-size guy, and will also understand Long Fei's identity more." The purple-clothed girl knew this and said slightly, "It's very rude to eavesdrop on other people's conversation." Nether Slave was stunned. He muttered, "Why have I never heard you say that before?" The violet-clothed young girl's gaze turned. Nether Slave immediately lowered his head. Long Fei's room. The twins hurried into the room. "Lord, this is bad." Li Yuanba immediately stood up and said respectfully, "Greetings, eldest sister-in-law." The twins' faces were bright red and looked incomparably shy. Long Fei asked, "What's wrong?" The twins said, "We lost all the money we bet." Long Fei frowned. "Didn't I win?" The twins said, "But they won't admit it. They think this is a competition with no effect. They will swallow all the bets." F***ck. "Boss, if you say anything, I'll knock him over." Li Yuanba was immediately enraged. Chapter 1992 Blood Flows Like Rivers. Chapter 1992 Blood Flows Like Rivers. 30 million divine stones have been swallowed. It would be a lie to say that he was not angry. Long Fei was very angry. He was rather annoyed, but he did not immediately go after the money. Just over 30 million. Money is just money. The world is so beautiful, yet I am so agitated. This is not good, not good, not good at all. Long Fei tried his best to suppress the flames in his heart. Tears streaming down the twins' faces, they said, "They're too much of a bully." "It's fine, it's really fine. What does 30 million yuan count for? I will make them vomit 10 times, 100 times more." Long Fei smiled faintly. His smile was laced with killing intent. The waiter also walked in and said, "Sir, I heard that the Gods Commercial Alliance's main rudder has sent people, and the sum of money for the casino has been confiscated was ordered by him." Also, Long Fei said, "Speak." The waiter said, "Master Wang Tai was taken. F***ck. Long Fei could endure 30 million being swallowed. Brother being captured, we can't tolerate it anymore." In that moment, Long Fei rushed out and said furiously, "Your father will see how many lives this God's Commercial Alliances has." Li Yuanba immediately followed Long Fei and rushed out. The money was swallowed. However, "Brother, nothing must happen to you." This was Long Fei's bottom line. He would definitely not tolerate this. "Miss, something seems to have happened downstairs," the Nether Slave said lightly. The purple-clothed girl's eyes trembled and immediately said, "Isn't God's Commercial Alliance's actions too excessive?" As she spoke, the violet-clothed young girl swiftly rushed downstairs. The nether slave wanted to stop her, but he did not. He hurriedly chased after her and said, "Young miss, it's almost time for the auction. That thing." Their purpose this time was for that thing. If they missed it, it wasn't a waste of time, but a person would die. The purple-clothed girl's brows furrowed, but she still walked out with large strides. Bam! Fourth floor of God's Commercial Alliance's training hall. The door was immediately kicked away by Long Fei. It heavily smashed into the training hall. Next, all the people sitting cross-legged in the training hall stood up in unison. All of them wore the same set of clothes, similar to those worn by warriors from the island countries. Their eyes turned towards Long Fei in unison. Killing intent. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, seeing the clothes they were wearing. He became even more infuriated. Just as Long Fei finished speaking, a man shouted loudly, "Where did this trash come from? How dare he behave so atrociously in the training hall? Trash your ass." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei's figure moved. He went up and slapped him, and that person fell on the ground. Bam! His head hit the ground. The amount of blood on top of his head was almost completely depleted. Instant kill. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing. The system sounded out. And also at that moment, all the warriors in the training hall surrounded Long Fei, forming a revolving array formation with all their power gathered together, as if chains were connecting them. The 80 warriors in the training hall gathered together. It formed a powerful force, like a snake coiled around its prey. "Boss!" Li Yuanba clenched his fists and shouted. Long Fei did not speak. Li Yuanba also did not step in. He understood Long Fei very well. Long Fei was currently very angry, his anger reaching the sky. He needed to vent it out. Behind the door, a man sneered. "I knew he would come. I was about to die in the coiling snake formation. You can't deal with such a person alone?" A few clan elders of the God's Commercial Alliances felt a chill on their faces, and one of the clan elders said, "Sir Envoy, Long Fei is not as simple as he seems. The coiling snake formation is strong, but you think the coiling snake formation can't kill him?" The envoy glared. The elder immediately didn't dare to speak. "My coiling snake formation has even been used by the people from the lower God's Peak realm before, not to mention that he is just a small trash at the first level of lower God. What the F **K? The envoy's face was filled with disdain. The coiling snake formation was indeed formidable. Its power was linked to everything, just like a snake. Once it was wrapped around its prey, it would not let go until it was exhausted to its death. One person moving, pulling his entire body. One person's strength was equal to the strength of 80 people. Terrible. At this time, Long Fei's right hand moved. Wong. The Yama edge landed in his hand. Black lightning covered his entire body. Coiling snake formation? Dead serpent formation? Long Fei's eyes flashed with a bright light. "Seeing the clothes worn by you people, you will all die." Very unhappy. Picking up the Yama edge, he chopped down without hesitation. Boom! A warrior sword in his hand blocked it. At this moment, the strength of 80 people exploded from his body. Powerful strength exploded out like a violent explosion. Ha ha ha! Just watch. That piece of trash is dead for sure. Boom! With a loud sound, the katana broke the moment it came into contact with the Yama edge, and the warrior holding the blade slashed his sword, his body splitting into two halves. At the same time, the lightning on the Yama edge exploded outwards. Crackling. All of the warriors in the coiled snake array were shrouded in black lightning. The entire formation was instantly destroyed. The warriors quickly retreated. Like a drowning dog at this time, Long Fei's speed was extremely fast, taking advantage of his sickness to take his life. "Just you warriors, as many as come, I will kill." Bam! 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 One knife, one knife, one knife. They were all crying out as they screamed like the sky and the earth. The entire training hall was like hell on earth. Swallow my money? Touch my brother? Who gave you the courage of the God's Commercial Alliances? Long Fei shouted loudly. Behind the door, the envoy's face was pale as he continuously retreated. "Stop him! Stop him! How can my lord call him a rescue? Stop him. The faces of the elders turned cold as they continued to retreat. All of you hold on. You dare to kill people in God's commercial alliances' territory. I see that he has a few lives. All you block him. I'll go call the Lord. The emissary staggered back, then quickly escaped. Bullshit. In a short 10 minutes. Within the training hall, all the warriors had died. Moreover, every one of them had been decapitated, their deaths incomparably miserable. In this alternate world, if one saw these warriors in their robes, they would be a cripple if they didn't die. But who would be a cripple if they died? Get the hell out here. Boom. The aura on Long Fei's body exploded, forming a strong flow of energy that directly broke through the wall of a wooden door. And in the room, there were 5 shivering elders. Long Fei took a step forward, shouted out, and said, "Even people from your God's commercial alliances dares to touch my brother? Long Fei, it's not us. We did not touch Wang Tai. He was taken away by the messenger sent by the headquarters. Long Fei, we have nothing to do with this. Long Fei, don't make such a big fuss. If you make a big fuss, it won't benefit anyone." The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted and said, "It won't benefit anyone. If you don't hand over my brother, I will tear your God's commercial alliances apart." Chapter 1993, God Equipment. 9 Reborn Spiritual Flowers. Chapter 1993, God Equipment. 9 reborn spiritual flowers, brothers, were as per the orders. No one can move. The killing intent that was emitted from Long Fei's body was like a ferocious beast, firmly crushing down onto the few of them. One of the elders said with difficulty, "He is not with us. He was taken away by the chief steward." "Where did you take it?" Long Fei asked. "Auction, auction." Long Fei's eyes turned sinister, and he said, "Auction?" He was puzzled. Why did he bring Wang Tai to the auction? An elder said, "This time's auction is for the Wang family. The Qi family, Chun family, and the people from the great clans of City of Martial Arts are here. Your brother is being brought to the auction to be sold to the Wang family." Long Fei's eyes flashed with anger. The fury on his body exploded once again. Another elder said, "Long Fei, when you came out, the twins that were serving you have probably been taken away as well. They will also be auctioned off." It was directed at you. At this point, they were willing to say everything they had in order to preserve their lives. Long Fei turned to look. Indeed, the twins didn't follow in time. Cluck, cluck, cluck. His joints exploded, and his anger soared to the heavens. The air in the room seemed as if it was about to explode. The 5 elders didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Their bodies could explode at any time. Unwell. It was extremely uncomfortable. Unspeakably uncomfortable. All of them kneeled on the floor, not daring to say a single word. "To your father? All right. Very good. God's commercial alliances, you have already provoked me. If I don't flip you over, I will write the word dragon backwards." Long Fei shouted. He turned around and left. Right at this moment, the hearts of the elders relaxed slightly. The Yama edge in Long Fei's hand suddenly slashed. Boom! Blade, Qi was as fast as lightning. With one slash, 5 people died. Not a single one remained. Li Yuanba became excited and asked, "Boss, what for?" "Kill them all." Long Fei coldly spat out these 2 words. To provoke his brother, and even touch his woman. If he did not take revenge, then he would not be called Long Fei. Li Yuanba rubbed his big bald head and laughed excitedly. Understood. Just as Long Fei was about to leave the training hall, the purple-clothed girl rushed to the door. She ran a little anxiously and almost ran into Long Fei's embrace. Glancing at the death sworn in front of her, her brows tightened as she said, "Long Fei, you still can't touch God's commercial alliances." Long Fei was truly furious. Upon hearing this, he immediately said, "You want to stop me?" The purple-clothed girl said, "This auction is no small matter. If you destroy it, I'm afraid you will offend many people. This will be very disadvantageous to you." Offended many people? I have never been afraid of the main temple. Who do I need to be afraid of a mere primordial divine war dimension? Long Fei had never been afraid of offending people. But if the destiny god was able to overturn things, who would he be afraid of? The sovereign is here. Long Fei is not afraid. I know that you're not afraid, but can you consider others? Consider the people around you? There are countless powerhouses in the ancient god battle. You are not invincible, and your brother is not invincible either. If you were to disrupt the auction, I'm afraid you would not be able to leave the city of martial arts. Also, the purple-clothed girl looked at Long Fei and said, "Can I beg you?" Her eyes were pleading. Desire. She had come for that thing. She really, really needed that thing. Long Fei's gaze darkened. Suppressing his anger, he asked, "What do you want at the auction?" The violet-robed maiden immediately said, "I do. I have a treasure to save my father. I must acquire it, or else I will hate myself for the rest of my life. Can you help me? As long as you don't break into the auction, I'll definitely be able to get it." At this time, the nether slave also rushed over. He also walked forward and said, "Miss, you don't need to go beg people like this." The purple-clothed girl looked at Long Fei and said, "I really need that item." Long Fei asked again, "Just what is it that can make you do this?" Young Valley Master of the Night King Valley, the once strongest assassination organization in the ancient holy battlefield. What kind of status did they have? Nether Slave shook his head slightly. The purple-clothed girl hesitated for a moment before replying, 9 reborn spiritual flowers. 9 reborn spiritual flowers? Long Fei was extremely unfamiliar with this name. He had never heard of it, but Li Yuanba, who was at the side, frowned, revealing a shocked expression. However, Li Yuanba did not say anything. The purple-clothed girl said, "I need it to save my father. I have to get it." Long Fei said, "I also want to save my brother." The purple-clothed girl immediately said, "Don't worry. As long as you can allow this auction to proceed successfully, I will take care of your brother and the 2 foxwomaness." Huff. Long Fei exhaled. "Since that's the case, then I'll leave it to you." If Wang Ting and the twins were really going to appear at the auction, it meant that they were safe, so there was no need to worry. However, Long Fei only agreed on the surface with the purple-robed girl. Seeing that Long Fei had agreed, the purple-clothed girl finally heaved a sigh of relief and said, "Let's go to the auction together." Long Fei said indifferently, "What? Are you afraid that I will cause trouble?" The purple-clothed girl said, "As long as I get that item, you can do whatever you want of me." Nether Slave said, "Lord Yo Master Long, please." Long Fei strode out with Li Yuanba following behind him. She asked him with a sound transmission, "Boss, are you not going to cause trouble? Don't move first. It has to be done, but not now." Long Fei smiled. He couldn't help but laugh in his heart. What they said is right. What they said is correct, no matter what kind of profit it is, alchemy or weapon crafting. The most profitable industry in this world should be robbing and auctioning. Great treasures, spirit treasures, divine stones, divine pills, everything. This is definitely a good opportunity to make a fortune. At this time, Li Yuanba, using the sound transmission, said, "Boss, 9 reborn spiritual flowers are not ordinary. This kind of spirit grass has experienced 9 rebirths, and every time it is different, it can bring someone back from the dead. It seems like this woman wants to bring someone back from the dead." Hearing Li Yuanba's words, Long Fei's heart trembled once again. Such an awesome spirit grass? Resurrection of the dead. This is extraordinary. Li Yuanba then continued, "This kind of spirit grass is rarely seen in 10,000 years. I'm worried." Long Fei asked, "What are you worried about?" Li Yuanba did not voice the worry in his heart, and lightly said, "Nothing." Long Fei asked, "How do you know about this kind of spirit grass?" Li Yuanba not only knew about it, he was also very familiar with it. Li Yuanba said, "This is something that everyone in the infernal realm dreams of. It can reconstruct the soul's physical body and is the treasure of the infernal realm. A divine object, a true divine object." Long Fei suddenly stopped and turned to look at Li Yuanba and immediately blurted out, "Doesn't that allow my father to return to the human world?" Suddenly, the violet-robed maiden came to a halt. Nether Slave also stopped. Both of their eyes stared straight at Long Fei. Chapter 1994, Stimulating Auctions. Chapter 1994, Stimulating Auctions because he was too excited. It was also because Long Fei really wanted his father to return to the world of the living. That was why he couldn't control his emotions. Seeing the expressions in the eyes of the purple-clothed girl and the nether slave, Long Fei felt a little awkward. The purple-clothed girl's gaze tensed up as she looked at Long Fei and asked, "Do you know the use of 9 reborn spiritual flowers?" Long Fei replied, "I don't know." The purple-clothed girl said, "You don't have to lie to me. If you know something, just say it." Long Fei still denied it. "I really don't know." The purple-clothed girl retracted her gaze. From the corner of her eyes, she was paying attention to the change in Long Fei's expression as she became wary of him. She had heard it clearly. To let his father return to the human world, that was the power of the 9 reborn spiritual flowers. However, in the ancient divine warplane, only the 9 reborn spiritual flowers could refine the 9 steps yang reversion pill, revive the dead, and let go of the control of fate. Nether Slave sent a sound transmission to him. "Miss, he definitely knows something." The purple-clothed girl replied, "I can tell." Nether Slave said, "If he knows the power of the 9 reborn spiritual flowers, what if he snatches it away and uses it to save his own people? What would happen to the old master?" The violet-robed girl was silent. She didn't know. Long Fei's alchemy technique was the most powerful one she had ever seen. If there was a pill refiner in this world that could concoct the 9 steps yang reversion pill, then that person would definitely be Long Fei. However, Long Fei knew the power of 9 reborn spiritual flowers. Would he take it for himself? All of a sudden, the purple-clothed girl hesitated. However, her worries were unnecessary. Li Yuanba said to Long Fei via sound transmission, "Uncle does not need to save. He's the king of hell. He's currently cultivating the laws of hell. When he completely grasps the laws of hell, he will reappear in the world. In addition, boss, 9 reborn spiritual flowers are very rare. If it appears, then the people from the main temple will definitely appear as well. Main temple will definitely not allow this kind of thing that is beyond our control to appear. If the people from the main temple did not appear, then this thing might very well be fake." Li Yuanba understood what 9 reborn spiritual flowers meant. Main temple. This was especially true for deities who controlled the fate of 100,000 planes. Once something like this appeared, he would immediately sense it and definitely not allow it to save anyone. Because once the dead were revived, they would be out of the control of fate. This was something that the main temple would never allow to happen. Long Fei slightly nodded and said, "At that time, we will see. Since we cannot buy it, we will snatch it, and if we cannot, we will kill it." Li Yuanba laughed innocently. The purple-clothed girl had been using the heavenly listening technique the entire time, but she was unable to hear Long Fei in his sound transmission, causing her to feel anxious. "My lord, all 81 warriors of the Coiling Snake Formation have died." The emissary ran into the room, panting heavily. A middle-aged man suddenly stood up. His gaze darkened, and the corners of his eyes twitched a few times, exuding a cold, killing intent. "A puny Long Fei dares to be so arrogant? All right, let's see how many lives you have left today." "Humph." The man had killing intent. The emissary laughed excitedly. "Sir, as long as we can eliminate Long Fei, the God's Mountain, the God-Child will bestow upon us the right to enter the battleground. As long as we can enter the battleground, our position will definitely rise greatly, and you will definitely become the alliance master of the God's commercial alliances." "Ha! Ha ha!" The two of them laughed. The auction was more important. But for him, Long Fei's life was even more important. God's Commercial Alliances' second floor, a huge banquet hall. This layer is a double deck. The first level was filled with 18 round tables. Each table had 10 people, with 6 special luxurious rooms on both sides of the table. This time the auction was not ordinary. Without a certain level of strength, he simply didn't have the qualifications to enter. Not long later, an elder of the God's Commercial Alliances stepped onto the stage and said, "Masters, the auction is about to begin." I'll explain it again before then. When bidding, you can use divine stones, but you can also use spirit treasures of the same price. Soul treasures need to be appraised. I hope that all of you can buy the treasures that you wish for. Finished. The elder withdrew himself. At this time, 18 beautiful women walked out from the 18 tables and stood by their respective sides. They were all there to bid. 18 women, all of them peerless. Moreover, the clothes he was wearing were extremely sparse, making people unable to help themselves from swallowing their saliva. As for the woman in the room, the moment he pushed open the door, Long Fei was even more shocked. Not a single piece of clothing was worn. It was just that before she could even enter the room, she was sent away by the purple-clothed girl, but she still saw Long Fei. Long Fei asked curiously, where the hell did this god's commercial alliances get so many beautiful women? These women were all foxes. It wouldn't be wrong to say that they were fox spirits, as it would completely hook out a man's soul. The purple-clothed woman rolled her eyes at Long Fei. The god's commercial alliances is controlling the Sky Fox mountain range. That is the territory of the fox tribe, and they specially train all kinds of beauties to do a lot of things. You have to be careful. Perverts like you, who knows how many times you die in a year under their hands. Soft bed killing place. Many people didn't even know how they died. Long Fei grinned and said, I'm a pervert, and I didn't eat your tofu. Touching your butt, a pervert, wouldn't treat you like a pervert. The purple-dressed woman glared at Long Fei. At this moment, another slave walked into the room and said in a low voice, Miss, I've asked around clearly. The young man from Legend Palace is right in front of us, and there's still a few other huge powers and a few people from the Merchant Union. I'm afraid the money we brought is. The purple-clothed girl said, I understand. Nether slave did not continue. The purple-clothed girl looked at the bracelet on her hand and gently bit her teeth. A few minutes later, presided elders walked onto the stage and smiled. In order to make the auction more interesting and exciting, we will first hold 2 special auctions today. First, Fox twins. Clap, clap. He clapped his hands, and the twins were dragged out from the side. Their cheeks were red and swollen, and their eyes were red. He was sure they had just been beaten. Although these twins aren't virgins, they have been specially trained. It can be said that they are proficient in all 108 styles and can even make you feel refreshed. The important thing is, the one they once served was Long Fei, who came out from the Devil Island. Auction 1 divine stone. Let the auction begin. Haha. Then whoever gets these twins, who wouldn't give that kid a green hat? I'll take it. 10,000 divine stones. Don't fight with me. I will bring that brat green hair. I will pay 20,000 divine stones. This was openly insulting Long Fei. Long Fei did not get angry, but Li Yuanba could not help but feel his joints popping up and asked, Do these people want to die? Thank you for your support. Chapter 1995. Chapter 1995 to Li Yuanba. The twins were his sister-in-law. How could they be auctioned off? Long Fei naturally could not tolerate it either. However, the purple-clothed girl walked to the window and said 1 million. His words shocked everyone. Everyone in the hall looked at her in unison. If someone offered the highest price of 20,000, she would immediately bid 1 million. The entire audience was stunned. Long Fei was also slightly shocked. The purple-clothed girl said, You want to redeem your body for them? It's better this way. Long Fei frowned. They are not items. They should not be auctioned off. The purple-clothed girl said, They are nothing to God's commercial alliances. Long Fei's heart sank. On the stage, the presided elders said lightly, Is there a higher rank than 1 million? This is a fox race top-quality twin, and is even more so someone who has served Long Fei before. Buying sex is not bad. At the very least, you should feel a sense of superiority over others, right? He was constantly drawing on his hatred. He was also constantly insulting Long Fei. Li Yuanba stood at the window and looked out, then muttered, I'll remember you. At this moment, an elder from the Long family stood up and said, 1,500,000 divine stones. All right, someone has already offered 1,500,000. Are there any higher bids? If you want to toy with them, then do so now. Buy it back and play with it however you want. If you want to play with them, then play with them. Presided elders said excitedly. The old man from the Wong clan said lightly, my big wolf dog just happens to be lacking a mate. Using a fox species to breed might not be bad, haha. Longface suddenly stood up. The purple-clothed girl immediately said, 5 million. The entire audience was stunned again. The purple-haired girl said in a low voice, you promised me that you wouldn't act carelessly. Nether Slave immediately stepped forward. Miss, you cannot bid like this. The amount of money we have is not much. We should spend it on the blade. The purple-clothed girl didn't say anything and just looked at Long Fei. 5 million going once. Is there anything higher? 5 million twice. Who's higher? This is a man's chance. 5 million going thrice. With a heavy blow, Presided Elders smashed down with his hammer. He raised his eyes towards the purple-clothed girl and said, congratulations to buyer number 2. Please pay up for the item. And then, Presided Elders clapped again and said, then we will be even more powerful. God's commercial alliances has spent a lot of effort to catch a pure wild beast. This monster has black bones on its back, and it has a strange strength. I heard that the stronger your cultivation, the longer your black bones will grow. Come, let us see what kind of monster it is. While they were talking, a cage was pushed out. One of the attendants lifted the black cloth covering the cage. Inside the iron cage, 8 chains pierced into Wong Tai's bones and tightly bound him. His entire body was covered in blood. The black bones on his back were broken again. Looking at the 8 chains stabbing into one's body made one suck in a cold breath of air in incomparable pain. Wong Tai, Presided Elders laughed out loud. Did you see that? This is a monster. This kind of monster is definitely first class. At least it's better than a dog, right? The auction price is also a divine stone, so you can freely bid. Elder Wong, this is much more useful than your big wolf dog. How about it? The Wong clan elder stood up and laughed out loud. Not bad, not bad. You are indeed more useful than my big wolf dog. I offer 10,000 divine stones. Isn't he a monster abandoned by the Wong family? So that's all it looks like? What a monster. Look at the black bones on his back. No one has ever looked like this. Monster. What a monster. Everyone looked at Wong Tai, who was in the metal cage, and laughed. Monster, monster, monster. This word was like a deadly force that pierced Wong Tai's heart. He, who was in the iron cage, became more and more crazy, and he didn't dare to face it. Although he had been in Devil Island for more than 10 years, and thought that he would dare to face them, when he saw the gazes of the Wong family, and the strange gazes of the people from City of Martial Arts, his heart shrank, as if a door had suddenly closed. He still didn't dare to face it. Fear filled his heart. Listening to the mocking laughter and discussions around him, he couldn't help but become even more furious. I'm not a monster. I'm not a monster. I'm not. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The 8 chains were stretched taut, as creaking sounds could be heard. Wong Tai's bones were constantly cracking. Fresh blood crazily surged out, and the black bones on his back were also crazily extending. Power surged. The iron cage seemed to be unable to bear it. However, Presided Elders' face was full of excitement as he said, Did you see that? Did you see that? The monster is using its strength. Ha ha ha. F***CK. Suddenly, Long Fei took a step forward. The purple-clothed girl's gaze tightened. Crap. And then, she did not care that much and immediately went up and said, 1 million divine stones. The instant she finished speaking, Long Fei had already landed on the auction stage and stood beside the iron cage. Looking at Wong Tai, who was constantly struggling with his hair in the cage, the aura on his body was like flames. Anger. Boom. As the Yama edge fell, it chopped down with its blade. The iron cage shattered, and the 8 chains broke at the same time. Wong Tai's body trembled nonstop. The bones in his back continued to grow. It was painful. His eyes were filled with pain, and his lips trembled as he looked at Long Fei. Boss, kill me. Kill me. Quick, kill me. Boss, quickly kill me. Presided elders did not intervene. With a playful expression, he said, 1 million. Is there a higher bid? The price is 18 generations of your ancestors. Long Fei's eyes opened wide. The spirit chi around his body burst out like a dragon's roar, heavily smashing forward. Boom! That presided elders was instantly crushed to the point where he was sprawled on the ground, unable to move. Long Fei supported Wang Tai up with one hand and said, "Don't worry. Everyone will pay the price because they mock you today. I swear to the heavens." Long Fei supported the trembling Wang Tai down the stage. The entire audience was surprised. At the same time, the hearts of many were trembling. In a private room. "Ha ha! Fun, this is so fun. Can't you bear it?" The envoy laughed. "Your Excellency, your 2 moves are quite powerful. Look at how infuriated that kid is. That's great. This is just an appetizer. It's just that he doesn't feel good, that's all. Looking at the pain of others, I can't help but feel excited. Ha ha ha." In the private room, the patriarch of the gods' commercial alliances trembled slightly. He was afraid of this lunatic lord in his heart. The twins and Wang Tai were auctioning them off to make Long Fei very unhappy. Now, Long Fei was indeed unhappy. The purple-clothed girl looked at the unhappy Long Fei and said, "Once that item is auctioned off, I'll leave it to you." Chapter 1996. Destiny God is still alive. Chapter 1996. Destiny God is still alive. Once he said that, Long Fei looked at the purple-clothed girl. Li Yuanba also looked at her. The twin girls who had been photographed also looked at her. Even the nether slave was looking at the purple-clothed girl. They were all shocked. "After the item is sold, I'll leave it to you." The meaning behind those words. Long Fei said, "All right, I will wait for that thing of yours to be sold off. I'll wait." At this moment, the purple-haired girl realized that what she said had caused everyone to misunderstand. She wanted to explain, but in the end, there was no explanation. No matter what, it was still a good thing for her that Long Fei could temporarily quell his anger. "And I'll let you calm down first," the purple-clothed girl thought to herself. The auction continued. Li Yuanba gave a silly smile and said, "Boss, there's another sister-in-law now." Long Fei laughed, then looked at Wang Tai, seeing that the bones on his back were broken once again. "You stay here, I'll go out for a bit." Wang Tai needed continuous bone pill. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to survive. However, when Long Fei stood up, Wang Tai grabbed onto Long Fei and shook his head. "Brother Fei, let me die." As soon as he finished, Long Fei said as he slapped him, "Your life is mine. Since I did not approve of it, you are not allowed to die." It was a little insult to him. "If you die like this, you will be mocked for the rest of your life. Your mother will never be able to raise up her head again." "Understood," Long Fei said angrily. Men had to endure it. Even if the sky were to collapse, he would have to grit his teeth and endure it. Wang Tai held on to Long Fei and did not let go. Long Fei shouted, "If you want to die like that again, then you are not my Long Fei's brother." Wang Tai looked at Long Fei. Although the 8 chains broke in the cage, they were still embedded in his bones, and with a slight movement of his body, the chain dragged the ground with a crashing sound as he said, "Brother Fei, I won't say anything more. I don't need the continuous bone pill either. I want to stand up by myself. For Mother." His eyes were different. Long Fei looked at his resolute expression and did not walk out of the private room. It would be difficult for him to hold on without the continuous bone pill. However, Wang Tai's gaze suddenly turned sinister. His hand grabbed the black, deformed bone on his back, and he spasmed. Hiss! Blood gushed out. But Wang Tai did not let out a scream and did not even frown. Slash! Another deformed bone was extracted from his body. The scene was appalling. The twins didn't dare look at him. In just a few minutes, all of those deformed and fractured bones were completely pulled out of Wang Tai's body. His body was trembling nonstop, and his face was as white as paper. Boom! Wang Tai suddenly roared out. Following that, his entire body became like a hedgehog, with over 100 black bones growing out from his body. Incomparable savagery. At the same time, a red light shone from his heart. The power of the heavenly bone. It erupted at full power. As the last forbidden barrier was broken, Wang Tai's own face became distorted and incomparably ugly. Cultivating the power of heavenly bone was exactly the same. The higher the cultivation, the more unrecognizable it would be. In the end, it was like a monster, being called a monster for dozens of years. Wang Tai could see through everything and put down everything. Since it was a monster, then just treat it as a monster that no one dared to look straight at. What a powerful strength. The purple-clothed girl looked at the black bones on Wang Tai's body and felt her mind shake. Netherslave was also slightly shocked as he said, I have never seen this kind of power before. Li Yuanba laughed foolishly. Ha, bro, you've been reborn. The pain on Wang Tai's body had completely disappeared and was replaced with a kind of satisfaction. He looked at Long Fei and said, Brother Fei, I won't be like before. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, That's more like it, and more so. The strength in your body is much stronger than you can imagine. Since everyone is calling you monster, then use your monster attitude to scare them. This was what a monster was. Wang Tai nodded heavily. The next auction item is the God's Holy Sword. The price of this sword that came from the main temple is 10 million. Each bid to increase it by at least 500,000. As soon as he finished, excitement filled the audience. The sword of the main temple. I'll pay 20 million. 30 million. 50 million. 80 million. It was completely unexpected. At this time, a naked woman walked out from room number 6 and lightly said, Master number 6 made a bid. 100 million divine stones, plus a heaven-ranked spirit grass. What a great gift. Who's in room number 6? This is too awesome. Just a heaven-ranked spirit grass is worth 50 million. That's 150 million altogether. God's holy sword, the destiny god's weapon. However, is not as simple as a weapon. The black-robed man in room number 6 said in a low voice. It was hard to see his appearance under the black robe. He looked like a person without a face, and his entire body was emitting a sinister and terrifying aura. Is there anyone else who wants to increase the price? Is there anyone else who wants to increase the price? 100 million godstones is sold. The hammer came down. Presided Elders was excited. Your esteemed guest is bidding for room number 6. Congratulations, sir. The purple-clothed girl said, Where did you get this sword? Long Fei did not expect the God's holy sword to actually send out a bid of over 100 million, and said softly, It was dropped by the destiny god. Huh? The purple-clothed girl was stunned. It was dropped. Long Fei explained. It was stolen from him. The purple-clothed girl said, Destiny God is a deity of high status within the main temple. He controls the fate of 100,000 plain gods, and similarly, his own fate. How could he die so easily? She didn't think much about it. Long Fei did not think too much about it. In short, after Destiny God died, he also gained experience. The system would not lie to him. It did not matter whether he fell or not. Li Yuanba walked to Long Fei's side, stuck close to Long Fei's ear, and said in a low voice, Boss, the soul of the Destiny God isn't in hell. He's not dead yet. In that instant, Long Fei acted as if he had been electrocuted. Impossible. If he's not dead, then he... Long Fei's eyes flashed with a sharp light, instantly breaking out of the door. Bam! The door to room 6 was kicked open, and a naked woman died on the ground. There was no one in the room. The god's holy sword was also taken away. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Could it be? He placed his own soul inside the heavenly king's sword? Damn! In the air above city of martial arts, with God's holy sword in hand, the black-robed man stood in the air and said sinisterly, Long Fei, we will still meet again. Ha ha! Chapter 1997, Making Trouble. Chapter 1997, Making Trouble. The God's holy sword's attributes were ordinary. There wasn't anything special about him. and this was also the reason why Long Fei didn't take him seriously. But who would have thought that Destiny God was not dead? He was the one in charge of this destiny, and had long since found a path for himself to retreat. 100 times more complicated. Long Fei was wrong. However, if he doesn't die, then let's kill him again. I have never been afraid of too many enemies. I only fear that the enemies are weak. Long Fei made up his mind. Back to his room, Li Yuanba immediately came over and asked, "Boss, what happened just now?" Long Fei laughed. "I'm fine." At this time, the violet-robed maiden said slightly, "It's about to begin." Nether Slave's eyes shook, and he immediately walked out. Presided Elders said slightly, "Today, we will find the last spirit treasure, and it will also be the final giant treasure. This is a treasure that our gods' commercial alliances spend an enormous amount of energy to find in the primordial era. 9 lives, 9 deaths, 9 reborn spiritual flowers. Legend has it that it can bring people back to life. It can also allow an ordinary martial artist to have the 9 revolutions divine power, and it can also help an extreme genius progress a step further and obtain the power of the 9 revolutions divine spark. Its existence makes even Main Temple jealous. Whoever can obtain it will be able to change their fate. The auction price is 100 million god stones, and each bid cannot be lower than 10 million. The bidding begins now." As soon as he finished, the entire audience was in an uproar. They were not in a hurry to bid, but were discussing instead. 9 reborn spiritual flowers, a spirit grass that can defy the heavens and change the fate. Does this kind of thing really exist in this world? The legendary divine object. Impossible. 100 million godstones. Who can afford it? At this moment, the youth in room 1 walked out. Looking at the purple-clothed girl, he lightly smiled and said, "Young Valley Master, are you still not going to make your move?" The purple-clothed girl said, "Are you in a hurry?" "Ha." At this time, number 3, number 4, all the people in the other rooms walked out of their rooms and went to the window. One of them said, "God's commercial alliances entered the ancient desolation and found a 9 reborn spiritual flowers." "What? You weren't even going to take it out for us to see?" "Exactly. You have to show it to us as well. We can't just take the air, can we?" There were no 9 reborn spiritual flowers on the auction stage. The presided elders smiled slightly and said, "Masters, you are right. We need to take out the treasures at the auction, but this item is too valuable. I'm worried that there might be a disciple that would be greedy. If you're afraid of being robbed, then what auction is that?" "Exactly. Take it out for me to take a look." "Take it out for me to take a look." Presided elders looked to his side. After receiving tacit approval, presided elders clapped his hands, and a white-haired old man came out from behind the scenes. In his hand was something that looked like a birdcage, and it was covered by a black cloth. Nether Slave's eyes tightened. Middle God Powerhouse. Mississippi. He's the old man Tianju that the gods' commercial alliances spent a lot of money to hire. 100 years ago, his cultivation was already at the 3rd stage of the Middle God. I'm afraid now. Middle God, a very strong existence. Long Fei felt an incomparably heavy pressure from just a single glance. And then, the white-haired old man lifted the black cloth. A stalk of spiritual light flashed in all 4 directions, and 9 small white flowers appeared. Each flower was different, and it looked as if it had experienced life and death, layer upon layer. 9 stages of life and death. It was also known as the 9 revolutions. Long Fei looked at Li Yuanba and asked softly, "Is it real?" Li Yuanba shook his head. "It doesn't know either. It's too far. I can't feel the 9 revolutions transcendental tower's aura." "How far do I need to go to sense it?" Li Yuanba replied. "We can't be less than a meter away from it. Furthermore, the cage in the old man's hand should be a small-scale formation, so we'll definitely be able to catch its aura. A meter is too far away." "Damn," Long Fei muttered. "If it's real, does it really have the power to revive the dead?" Li Yuanba said, "Not only that, it also allows you to recreate your 9 revolutions divine gate. With a 9 revolutions body, it is said that your 9 revolutions body is a body that will never die, which is countless times stronger than any undefeated or any mortal body without a fate wheel. Boss, why don't we try and steal it? If it really turns out to be a prophet, then so be it. Li Yuanba was a little excited. Hearing his words, Long Fei was a little excited. 9 revolutions. In the game, a first transition or a second transition was hard to accomplish, and a 9 transition was something that could only be done in private. If he could instantly go through 9 cycles. That was awesome. Long Fei snickered. Li Yuanba understood and quietly left the room. At this time, Nether Slave whispered, Miss, everything is ready. The purple-haired girl coughed and said, 500 million divine stones. Crash. It didn't matter if he didn't say anything, but once he did, Long Fei immediately jumped up from his chair in fright. Damn, is this girl really that rich? The first bid was 500 million. The entire audience suddenly quieted down. They were all stupefied. Night King Valley is only so, only 500 million. Our Kunlun clan bids 800 million. An old man stood at the window and shouted. An increase of 300 million in an instant. Karakoram, I heard that the clans of the battleground heard that the Kunlun army was extremely ferocious and swept across the battlefield. Even the Karakoram clan has made their bid. The teenager from the Legend Palace chuckled and said, 1 billion. The purple-clothed girl frowned and said, 3 billion. The elder from the Karakoram clan grinned and said, 5 billion. The youth from Legend Palace did not continue bidding, but looked towards the purple-clothed girl. The purple-clothed girl's forehead tightened. She didn't continue nagging and directly said, 2 billion. What a great gift, young Valley Master. The Legend Palace laughed lightly, then looked towards the auction stage and said, I don't have that many godstones, but I have a scroll of the Heavenly Treasure secret art, which is worth 3 billion godstones. Heavenly Treasure secret art? An ancient treasure. My God, since you brought out the Heavenly Treasure secret art. The elder from the Karakoram clan narrowed his eyes and said, I give up. 3 billion was something he couldn't afford. The purple-clothed girl took off the bracelet on her wrist and said, When my ancestor was alive, he used the battleground achievements to exchange for this bracelet from a god. Its value is priceless. Moreover, use it to make my Night King Valley do anything. A trace of light flashed in the eyes of the teenager from the Legend Palace, and he suddenly said, Blood sacrifice bracelet. You? He actually brought it here. Nether Slave wanted to stop him, but he knew that he couldn't persuade her otherwise. As long as the old master was willing, she would spare no cost. The Legend Palace youth said slightly, Young Valley Master is still powerful. I give up. The 9-ranked Sky Spirit Flower is yours. While they were talking, the young man from Legend Palace accidentally revealed a smile. The smile faded. Long Fei had a bad feeling about this. Presided elders asked, Is there anyone that has bid higher than young Valley Master? Blood sacrifice bracelet, the most valuable treasure of the ancient war god. Who could compare to it? At this time, Long Fei walked out, smiled slightly, and said, I bid 10 billion. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1998, 20 billion. Chapter 1998, 20 billion unfathomable, plus all of a sudden. Long Fei stood up and bid. I bid 10 billion. This number stunned everyone on the spot. The youth from the Legend Palace opposite of him had his eyebrows knit even tighter as the expression in his eyes slightly changed. Although it was very light, Long Fei had noticed it. The violet-robed maiden immediately said, What are you doing? The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he said, I'm bidding for something. Nether Slave revealed hostility and shouted, Brat, this is not a place for you to behave atrociously. The purple-clothed girl had even taken out her ancestral blood sacrifice bracelet. She had already made up her mind. Right now, the Night King Valley strength was not that strong. 10 billion. He couldn't take it out at all. Long Fei was still smiling and said, How can you call it being wild? I also want that 9 reborn spiritual flowers. I heard that it has the effect of bringing someone back from the dead. Who doesn't want this kind of thing? The purple-clothed girl frowned and stared at Long Fei. Even if she had always been extremely intelligent and had always believed in Long Fei, she was also a little anxious right now. She didn't know what Long Fei wanted to do. However, no matter what Long Fei wanted to do, she would not let go of the 9 reborn spiritual flowers. The young man from the Legend Palace said, slightly, 10 billion is not a small number. It is not something that anyone can take out. Can you take it out? The elder from the Karakoram clan also asked, Kid, can you take out 10 billion? That's right. Can a person from Devil Island like you take out 10 billion? Devil Island is such a poor place to fall. What divine stones would they have? And 10 billion, you did it on purpose, didn't you? If he could take out that much money and start his own woman, brother's auction wouldn't be so hard to call out that price, right? Exactly. Many people questioned. Presided elders looked at Long Fei and said, Can you take out 10 billion? Long Fei said, Who cares if this daddy can afford it? If I can't, then I won't buy it. Now you should ask if there is anyone else willing to offer a higher price. The field elder shivered and looked in another direction. All the adults in the room frowned. The 9 reborn spiritual flowers was no small matter. Moreover, the purpose of this item, just as he was hesitating, the purple-clothed girl spoke again. I'd bid 15 billion in the blood sacrifice bracelet in Night King Valley's territory. These will be enough for 15 billion. As soon as he finished, the audience was stunned once again. The Legend Palace youth revealed a trace of excitement and immediately said, Young Valley Master is bold. However, without waiting for him to be happy, Long Fei casually said, 20 billion. Boom! Like a bomb, the entire audience was in an uproar. The purple-clothed girl looked at Long Fei with an anxious expression and said in a low voice, Do you really have to fight with me? Ha. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, There's no other way. I want as well. You, the purple-clothed girl, stared at Long Fei. Wang Tai and the twins walked up puzzled. Nether Slave was fuming. The spirit chi on his body completely exploded, as though he was going to attack Long Fei. However, it was not only them who had an unsightly expression, it was also the teenager from Legend Palace. His expression was extremely unsightly, especially his expression was extremely gloomy, and he even had the urge to kill someone. Long Fei pretended not to notice anything, but he thought to himself, there must be a conspiracy behind this. Presided elders muttered, 20 billion? It's not that I doubt your strength, but this 20 billion is not a small amount. You must take it out and see. Otherwise, I won't be able to bid with my bare hands. Yes, you're right. What if he can't afford it? I suspect he's here to cause trouble. Who the hell is this trash from the Devil Island? He even called out a sky-high price of 20 billion. Who is he trying to fool? Long Fei looked at the purple-clothed girl and then walked forward and said, Let me ask, what's the value of half a main artifact? As soon as he finished, the entire crowd was stunned and stupefied. Half main artifact? This sort of godly weapon was simply a legend. The Legend Palace youth frowned and said faintly, If it really is a half main artifact level divine weapon, it is a priceless treasure, definitely above 20 billion divine stones. Long Fei's right hand moved, taking out the Yama edge, and said, This black knife is half a main artifact. It possesses absolute strength, and I believe that many people have seen its power, so I didn't say anything more. Now, do I have the qualifications to continue bidding? Yama Edge S were undefeatable, and the undead old monster of Chen's family S were instantly killed with a single slash. The knife caused a sensation, but no one expected that the blade was actually half a main artifact. The teenager from the Legend Palace stared at the Yama edge in Long Fei's hands and thought to himself, as expected of him, with the descent of the miracle, this blade should be able to reach the level of half a main artifact. Immediately, he hesitated. Half main artifact, godly weapon, this kind of weapon, let alone the same grade, it was even possible to kill one at a higher level, let alone the same grade. If he could obtain it, the Legend Palace youth was moved. There was a distinct change in his eyes. The purple-clothed girl said anxiously, Long Fei, what exactly do you want? Do you know how important 9 reborn spiritual flowers are to me? Can I beg you? Give it to me, please. She had been searching for it for years, and now it was finally right in front of her. Long Fei's interference caused her to feel fear in her heart. She wanted to save her father. He wanted to save Night King Valley. However, her strength was far from enough. Even she could not suppress her in Night King Valley. There were many elders in the valley who could not accept her power. If they could revive their father, then it would be different. The 9 reborn spiritual flowers was her only hope. Long Fei saw the purple-clothed girl's eyes flash and looked as though she was about to cry. His heart really ached, but he didn't express anything and smiled faintly. "Young Valley Master, if you want to bid even higher, you can." Nether Slave shouted and angrily said, "Brat, you unlucky brat, the young mistreated you so well, yet you treat her like this. What do you want to do?" Long Fei laughed heartily and said, "You want to obtain the 9 reborn spiritual flowers?" Ha ha ha! At this moment, presided elders said excitedly, "The price of half a main artifact is definitely higher than 20 billion divine stones. Is there any higher price than 20 billion? Are there any higher prices? If not, it's his." The purple-haired girl's body became weak, and she almost couldn't stand properly. She couldn't take out any more divine stones. The territories of the blood sacrifice bracelet and Night King Valley had already exceeded the limits of what she could bear. 20 billion. She couldn't afford it. Clang! The hammer came down. Presided elders said loudly, "All right, Long Fei will take care of the 9 reborn spiritual flowers." The purple-clothed girl's body sank, and her eyes became lifeless. Long Fei walked to his side and lightly said, "Bring them 3 away first." And then, with one step, he flew up to the auction platform. Chapter 1999, Fake Start. Chapter 1999, Fake Start. Ha ha, ha, ha ha. In God's Commercial Alliances' private room, the adults started laughing maniacally. Half a main artifact, ha. An unexpected surprise. An unexpected gain. It's much better than the blood sacrifice bracelet. Many of the elders didn't understand. The messenger couldn't help but ask, "Sir, this. A price of 20 billion was indeed something to be happy about, but I don't understand." The adult laughed. "You don't need to understand." He did not explain. This was a top secret. There was no need to explain. Long Fei landed on the stage. The presided elders grinned. "Congratulations, Sir Long Fei. Congratulations." Presided elders then said to the purple-clothed girl, "Young Valley Master, from now on, our God's Commercial Alliances will provide you with information regarding the 9 reborn spiritual flowers free of charge. If we find any more, we will definitely notify you immediately and give you the right to buy them first." The purple-clothed girl smiled bitterly. Nether Slave swept his sleeves fiercely, stared at Long Fei, and said, "I've misjudged you." The two of them walked into the room. The purple-clothed girl immediately recovered and said, "Uncle you Nether, Long Fei might be busy right now." Nether Slave did not hear what Long Fei said at the end and shouted, "What does his trouble have to do with us? Miss, there's no need to bother with people like this ever again." He was still full of anger. The violet-robed maiden said, "Take the 3 of them and leave first." The Nether Slave did not understand and said, "Miss, at this time, you still want to protect him?" The twins said, "Lord Long Fei is not like that. He must have some other purpose or have found something else." Wang Tai stood up and said, "I also believe, Brother Fei." The purple-clothed girl was unsure, but her intuition told her that Long Fei would definitely cause trouble. Immediately, the violet-robed maiden immediately ordered, "Uncle Nether, take the 2 of them and leave. Wang Tai, you go downstairs as well." Immediately, Nether Slave looked at the purple-clothed girl. Although he was unhappy, he still followed her order. Wang Tai also walked out of the room. The purple-clothed girl's body moved. She quietly hid in the darkness. It was impossible to clearly see her figure, and not even a trace of her aura could be seen. Even a supreme expert would not be able to sense his existence. At the same time, the Heaven's listening technique was activated. On the auction platform, presided elders walked to Long Fei's side and said, "Now, hand the black knife over and the 9 reborn spiritual flowers will be yours." At this moment, everyone in the room was extremely nervous. Long Fei grinned and said, "What's the rush? It's not like I'm going anywhere." Long Fei walked to the side of the white-haired elder, looked at the 9 reborn spiritual flowers in the cage, and said, "Is that the 9 reborn spiritual flowers that can bring people back to life?" The white-haired old man did not speak. Long Fei asked, "How many people can he save?" Presided elders said, 9 reborn spiritual flowers can bring a person back to life. This is only a legend. No one knows how it is used." "Oh, so that's how it is." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "In that case, if it fails to save a person, it should not be concerned with the matters of your God's commercial alliances." The presided elders was startled and said, "Of course, we can only guarantee that he is a 9 reborn spiritual flowers, and not whether or not he can save others. If we fail to save him, then we definitely did not find the right method. It has nothing to do with our God's commercial alliances." Long Fei laughed. "Then if it is fake, then we can only blame our bad luck, right?" At this moment, the center of the brows of the young man from Legend Palace tightened. Presided elders' face slightly changed and said, "What do you mean? Are you questioning the capabilities of our God's commercial alliances? Are you insulting our God's commercial alliances?" "Yo, what a big hat. Since you say so, then I'll be more direct. Yes, I am insulting you." Long Fei laughed. The presided elders' eyes turned sinister as he shouted, "Long Fei, are you here to cause trouble? I advise you to be more honest. Pay the money obediently and leave. Nothing will happen to you if you dare." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei raised his blade and hacked down. Presided elders' body instantly split into 2. There was not even a drop of blood on the blade. Long Fei looked at the corpse coldly and asked, "What do you dare?" Suddenly, everyone present was shocked. He was shocked by this scene. To kill the people of the God's commercial alliances at the auction. Does this man want to die? Standing beside him was a super powerhouse of the middle god. It could easily crush Long Fei to pieces. Long Fei shouted, his blade moving, and said, "What kind of bullshit 9 reborn spiritual flowers do you use to deceive a woman? Don't you feel ashamed? Your goal is to get that blood sacrifice bracelet, right? You want the killer system of the Night King Valley? Can you be like a man and be a bit more righteous? Just by being a despicable person, it would be a shame for you people to live on." Long Fei said heavily. The entire audience was in an uproar. The 9 reborn spiritual flowers is fake. It's to deal with Night King Valley? Is that really the case? Could this be a conspiracy auction? In the private room of the God's commercial alliances, the Lord's face changed. With a sinister look in his eyes, his killing intent burst out as he shouted, "You dog, you're courting death." At this moment, the young man from the Legend Palace pointed to the sky and instantly landed on the auction stage. He laughed lightly. "No one has ever seen a 9 reborn spiritual flowers before. How do you know that it is fake?" "I knew it was you." Long Fei sneered in his heart. "I don't know, but if you say it like that now, then it's 100% fake." "Ha! I wanted to test it to see if it was real or not, but I didn't expect to know after a try." The young man from Legend Palace frowned and stared coldly at Long Fei. "Indeed, it's fake. The real 9 reborn spiritual flowers, no one would take it out to auction. It's used to deal with Night King Valley. But the people from the Night King Valley have already left. They will definitely not protect you now, but I have to die here today." The bidding just now had already offended the people of Night King Valley. He could also feel that the people from Night King Valley and the assassins had all left the auction house. If he lost these people, would Long Fei be the only one? That's easy. In the room, the purple-clothed young girl's tears flowed unceasingly. She felt herself to be so stupid to actually suspect Long Fei. She felt herself to be so stupid, yet she didn't notice such a huge conspiracy. It wasn't her fault. She was anxious to save her father and would not give up even a sliver of hope. Boom! A door was kicked away, and the Lord who came from God's commercial alliances was enraged. His killing intent soared to the sky. He stared at Long Fei and bellowed, "Brat, you're dead today." While they were talking, he walked over to the white-haired old man and knocked over the cage that contained the 9 reborn spiritual flowers and shouted, "What are you waiting for? Kill him." Chapter 2000, Gate of Healing, Open. Chapter 2000, Gate of Healing, Open. The white-haired old man's eyes lit up. Buzz! A ray of light burst out. The pressure was like a mountain, instantly surging into Long Fei's sea of consciousness. Buzz! Long Fei's body sank, and he almost couldn't stand properly. A super powerhouse of the middle god, an extraordinary pressure. Also, this pressure was formless. There was no direction to it. Long Fei was caught off guard by the sudden pressure. He had no way to block it. "You dog! So what if I know that the 9 reborn spiritual flowers is fake?" "You must die today," that lord said fiercely. At this moment, the sound of heavy footsteps rang out as he asked, "Who wants my boss to die?" Boom! Rumble! Like a berserk bull, his entire body charged out from the void. Without waiting for the god's commercial alliance's lord to stabilize himself, he was directly sent flying. He knocked over a wall and buried it in the rubble, unconscious. At the same time, the thick stone coffin on Li Yuanba's back shook violently. Wong. The instant he landed, he directly shattered the pressure released by the white-haired old man. He stared at the white-haired old man and shouted, "Use your pressure to crush my boss again." King Kong, powerful and domineering. Li Yuanba's sudden appearance caused everyone to tremble. It was not because of his power, but his way of appearing, directly rushing out of the void. The Legend Palace youth's eyes darkened. "It's just the two of you." As soon as he finished, whoosh, 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 the surrounding black figures descended, all of them being powerhouse-s at the peak of the lower god. He immediately surrounded Long Fei and Li Yuanba in the middle. At this time, the Wong clan elder stood up and formed a seal with his hands. "Huh!" A golden poison corpse crawled out from the ground and shouted, "Kill him!" Golden poison corpse? Corpse King? The entire audience was in an uproar, and many people anxiously retreated, as all they had to do was inhale a little poison gas from the golden poison corpse, and they would turn into poison corpse. This kind of golden corpse king was too powerful. It was brought back from the battleground by the Wong family ancestor. It was the ancestor of the Wong family's poison corpse, and also the strongest poison corpse. Before entering the auction, Wang, Qi, Zhao, and Chen clan had received secret orders to deal with Long Fei. These clans and Long Fei all had deep grudges against each other, especially the Wang clan. They must take revenge. And then, Qi, Zhao, and the expert from the Chen family also rushed to the auction platform. "Haha, it's so lively here. How can I be absent?" Boom! The elder from the Karakoram clan also gave a loud shout and landed on the stage. He looked at Long Fei and laughed coldly. "Kid, I heard that your head is worth a lot of money. Whoever can take your head off will be promoted to become the strongest power in the ancient God War, as well as the strongest clan." Long Fei and the main temple confronted each other. This was something that everyone knew. In the past, it was a battle in the Devil Island, but now, it was a battle in the primordial divine war. Moreover, Zhan Wushuang also said that whoever could kill Long Fei would be able to gain control of the primordial divine war. This condition was too tempting. No one could refuse. Long Fei grinned. "Wow, looks like there are a lot of people who want my life." Li Yuanba said naively, "Boss, you leave first. Leave these people to me." "Me too." Boom! At one point, Wang Tai rushed out. The Wang clan elder coldly snorted. "Monster." Wang Tai did not care, but walked straight in front of the Golden Corpse King. His eyes turned sinister. The god's bone taboo in his body erupted out. His hands moved, blocking the Golden Corpse King's path. The Golden Corpse King's poison was crazily eroding. However, it was completely useless. The Legend Palace youth sneered and said, "Adding one more monster. It's only the three of you. What can you do? Long Fei. If I were you, I would obediently kneel and beg for mercy. This way, you might even die without pain. Long Fei said, if you weren't me, you wouldn't have been me. What kind of trash is your identity? It was also at this time. The purple-clothed girl walked to the window and asked, more people than others, right? Then let's see who has more people. All of you come out. Buzz. In the whole auction hall, assassins appeared one after another in the dark and surrounded the whole place. Moreover, a lot of them were hiding in the dark. Assassin. Being in the dark is the worst thing because you probably don't even know how you died. The gaze of the youth in the legend palace darkened as he said, young Valley Master, you still haven't left? The purple-clothed girl laughed. How can I leave? How could I leave without seeing your faces? Was my father's death also planned by you? Now that he thought about it, it was very possible. Step by step, Night King Valley was pushed into the abyss. The youth lightly smiled. So what if I am? With your current strength, are you even qualified to fight against the Legend Palace? Night King Valley. Right now, it's just a joke. The violet-clothed young girl's gaze sank. Suddenly, Nether Slave rushed out. Who dares to laugh at Night King Valley? The void moved. In the darkness, a dagger slashed towards the youth's neck. It was as fast as lightning, and with the addition of a sneak attack, this move would definitely take his life. However, the teenager was not flustered at all. Without moving his body, he grabbed with his right hand, not allowing Nether Slave to get close. He released an extremely strong suction force from his palm, sucking Nether Slave into his hand. In that instant, the huge hand of the monster ferociously smashed on the ground. Bang, bang. With a loud noise, Nether Slave was sent flying. His mouth constantly spat out black blood, and his face was extremely pale. The young man from Legend Palace smiled lightly and said, I dare to joke that all of your Night King Valley-s are a group of trash. The King of the Dark Knight? Ha ha, it's just dog shit. Uncle Yu. The purple-clothed girl landed and helped Nether Slave up. Nether Slave's face was pale, and he said softly, young miss, I'm sorry. I'm useless. No. The purple-clothed girl shook her head. Nether Slave looked at Long Fei, who was not far away, and said, Kid, you must take good care of my young miss from today onwards. Please. Finished. Black blood gushed out. Nether Slave's body slowly became stiff. One-hit kill. This was the power of the Legend Palace. The youth sneered, since you didn't leave, then die here with him. Too strong. Long Fei could not even feel the fluctuations of his strength. Dealing with the Nether Slave's move, that move was as easy as pie. Powerhouse. A real powerhouse. Long Fei's blood boiled from the battle. His eyes were gloomy, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he revealed a cold, murderous smile. Let's see who will die here today. At the same time, Li Yuanba rubbed his big, bald head, grinned and laughed excitedly, stared at the white-haired powerhouse, innocently laughed and said, The Gate of Healing. Open. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2001. Now it's me. Chapter 2001. Now it's me, Buzz. A red light flashed on Li Yuanba's body as his strength increased explosively. The white-haired powerhouse, who had his eyes locked on the middle god, moved his body and rushed out. And at this moment, the strength of the God's Bone taboo on Wang Tai's body also increased abruptly and immediately knocked the golden poison corpse out as all the bones in his body grew out of his body like barbs. Staring at the Wang family elder, a cold glint flashed across Wang Tai's eyes. Since you call me a monster, then I'll show you a monster. Boom! He directly charged out. The battle was about to begin. The Kunlun clansman stared at Long Fei, who was facing a Legend Palace youth at the side, and said, His life is mine. Chua! The shadow disappeared. His aura vanished. Long Fei couldn't sense his position at all. The purple-clothed girl frowned. Karakoram Savant's great art of confusion. Long Fei, Eagle Strike the Void. She was the young Valley Master of the Night King Valley, and had been familiar with all the techniques of the ancient god battle since young. It could be said that the Night King Valley was the largest kung fu storage pavilion in the ancient god war. She was just like Wang Yuyin from the 8 heavenly dragon tribes. He was very clear about the techniques and styles of the various sections. After looking closely at the Karakoram savant's movement technique, he immediately thought of a method to solve the problem. The Yama edge in Long Fei's hand moved and flew into the air, striking towards the sky. Buzz! On the Yama edge, it was a lightning strike. Elder of Kunlun clan explosively retreated as his forehead tightened. Little girl. His moves were repelled. The Legend Palace youth laughed lightly. As expected of the young valley master of the Night King Valley, he is very clear on the secret techniques of the various great sects, and even the confusion great art of the Karakoram clan knows how to break it. Elder of Kunlun clan shouted, "You're still in the mood to laugh? Are you happy to see me lose face?" The Legend Palace youth said, "You choose. Who do you want to deal with?" Elder of Kunlun clan said, "Isn't that woman good at talking? Then I shall tear open her mouth and see if her cultivation is as strong as her mouth." Chua, Elder of Kunlun clan, rushed out again. At the same time, the young man from Legend Palace stared at Long Fei and sneered, "Then your life is mine." Buzz! It disappeared on the spot like a black line pulled out. F*CK. You made me look so weak. Long Fei was a little unhappy. "Anyone can kill me." His fist shook. Buzz! The aura on Long Fei's body also abruptly changed as he released his idea. Every single strand of aura in the air was within his senses, and the moment he sensed the aura of the young Legend Palace, the Yama edge in Long Fei's hands chopped downwards. Boom! The saber sliced through the air, shattering the void. The aura of the teenager from Legend Palace was shattered. But, in this instant, the palm above Long Fei's head struck down heavily, directly facing the top of Long Fei's head. The Legend Palace youth laughed out loud. "You're too weak." Breaking through the idea's aura could not hurt him, but now. This palm attack. Long Fei's mind sank. His left arm moved, his palm struck out to block. "Power of Buddha! Explode for me!" Buzz! A Buddhist bell rang out. Long Fei's left arm moved to block the attack, as though it was a palm. Crack! Long Fei's body sunk. His fists were instantly smashed into the ground. The joints of his arms released an even louder cracking sound, as he was unable to bear the impact of such a powerful force. "Ha ha!" The Legend Palace youth laughed out wildly and said, "Long Fei, accept your death." His left palm moved again. Another palm attack came. Long Fei's left arm had been crippled, so the power of Buddha was not his match at all. He did not panic at all. His eyes turned sinister as he yelled in his heart, "Ultimate boxing." His right fist moved. Buzz! As he gathered his power, the entire atmosphere in the auction hall disappeared. He struck his palm at the teenager from Legend Palace. "Come! Rumble! Rumble! Rumble!" The moment the fist and palm collided, a violent explosion occurred from the power of the shockwave. The Legend Palace youth directly smashed into the ceiling and heavily fell down, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. Right at this moment, his arm began to crack. Bang, bang, bang. Explosions rang out one after another. He couldn't control it all. His arm exploded. Half of his body was blown away. In the end, even the head was blown off. The entire audience was slightly startled. Many people's hearts turned cold. This was the powerhouse in Legend Palace that actually died? The purple-clothed girl's forehead tightened. Suddenly, the purple-clothed girl suddenly shouted, "Long Fei, watch out." The moment the purple-clothed girl became distracted, Elder of Kunlun clan grabbed hold of her and shouted out coldly, "You should be the one being careful." Boom! His palm turned into a claw that grabbed towards the purple-clothed girl's throat. Long Fei felt a chill behind his back at this moment. He was like a prey being watched. He was unable to move and could die if he moved even a little. In the void, a figure walked out. Young Legend Palace. Not dead. Long Fei didn't know, but he could be sure that the youth in front of him was exactly the same as the youth before him. with no differences at all. The young man from Legend Palace said coldly, "Looks like the news that the Devil Island sent back is true. You indeed have a fist technique that can kill people. Fortunately, I was prepared, huh? You need a long time to use your fist technique, right? Hee. Long Fei, what other moves do you have now?" Ha! The Legend Palace was powerful. The strongest power in the Primordial War was only second to the main temple. When Long Fei left the island, Legend Palace knew that they were also swiftly collecting everything related to Long Fei. The Blasting Fist was one of them. Many people in the Devil Island knew about this fist art. It wasn't hard to collect them. Long Fei was shocked and laughed. "Looks like there is someone who wishes for me to die early. Is it a sovereign or your so-called son of God?" The Legend Palace's youth laughed. "The auction was actually not targeting you, but you were the one who wanted to get involved. If you could hand over that god steel back then, you might have been able to live a few more days, but now." Hee. "Then let's die together." As soon as he finished, the Legend Palace youth's body erupted with an extremely powerful force. It was as if the wind had swept away the clouds. "Long Fei, die!" An explosion sounded in the air as a sword appeared in the Legend Palace youth's hand, and he thrusted it towards the center of Long Fei's brows. Fast, accurate, ruthless. There was no way to dodge. Long Fei also did not think of dodging. The idea moved the power of critical strike, fuse. The power of breaking through armor, fuse. Boom, boom. When the two energies fused into his body, Long Fei used his body to rush out at the same time. Pucci. The long sword pierced into his body. Long Fei used his bones to block the long sword and laughed sinisterly. "Is it my turn now?" Chapter 2002, Crown Prince. Chapter 2002, Crown Prince Long Fei was a madman. Many people knew. The people of the Legend Palace also knew that Long Fei clearly knew that the 9 reborn spiritual flowers was fake, but he still wanted to be involved. If he wasn't crazy, then what was he? However, what the Legend Palace youth did not expect was that he was actually this crazy to use his own body to trap his sword. How crazy was this? He simply didn't care about his life. One had to know that the power on his long sword was not just any ordinary injury. As the long sword entered his body, the power on the sword would erupt, and so would the power he infused into the sword. He couldn't withstand it at all. His body would directly shake into mud, but Long Fei did not care at all. He forcefully endured the pain. Yi Zichen stared at him with a dark expression. At this moment, the Legend Palace youth's heart sank. Madman. At the same time, he felt a chill in his heart. Long Fei's actions were too crazy. In an instant, when the Yama edge slashed down, Long Fei roared out, "Besides the Blasting Fist, I still have another life that doesn't care about my life. Have you collected this yet?" Rumble. It furiously slashed down. The power of armor breaking and the power of critical strikes exploded in all directions. The Legend Palace youth did not manage to pull out his sword in time. Watching the Yama edge fall, his body started to emit rays of divine light, and it was as if his body had turned golden. "Buzz, you want to hurt me? Humph, I've been dreaming my whole life." The Legend Palace youth sneered. His attacks were strong, and his defense was just as strong. As long as they could enter the battleground, they would be able to be ranked as one of the top powerhouses in the primordial divine war. In the ancient war, they were fearless. However, he simply did not understand Long Fei, nor did he understand his strength. The saber slashed down. Strength ignored defense. Even if it was a golden body possession, it would still strike you down. Walala! Golden light scattered in all directions. Unable to endure it any longer, a long, bright red number floated up above the Legend Palace youth's head. It dealt nearly 20 million damage. He made a sudden stroke. The Legend Palace youth vomited blood. This move had taken half of his life. Never. No one in the human race could injure him to such an extent, and it was even under his strongest defense. Bam! He landed heavily on the ground. The youth's expression turned savage as he shouted, "Impossible! You can't hurt me. Absolutely impossible." Long Fei grinned and laughed. I can even kill Destiny God, and not even injure you. Are you stronger than me? Suddenly, Long Fei took a step forward, and the Yama edge in his hands chopped down again. The air shattered. The lightning blade chi was released. The Legend Palace youth rolled on the ground, barely dodging a single strike. However, when the lightning sword chi landed on his body, another 1,000,000 points of damage floated up. The power of breaking armor, ignoring all defenses, coupled with the 100% critical strike. This effect was simply too awesome. The Legend Palace youth was in a very sorry state. His heart was raging, but Long Fei would not give him the chance to stand up. While he's sick, take his life. He was going to die if he was to be crippled. Boom! Li Yuanba's body slightly sunk as he consecutively retreated a few steps back. He was so excited that he started laughing heartily. Amazing, interesting, haha. Gate of life, open. Buzz. The strength in his body increased once again. A dense aura coiled around his body like a black flame. The white-haired old man's forehead tightened. He's here. Li Yuanba crazily rushed forward. Oh, boom, boom. Monster? So what if I'm a monster? Wang Tai bellowed heavily, twisted off one of the golden poison corpse's arms, and threw it in front of the Wang family elder. The poison released from the golden poison corpse was completely useless against Wang Tai. It was completely unaffected. The golden poison corpse was completely oppressed by Wang Tai. It didn't even have a chance to retaliate. He had already thrown away the burden of being a monster, and since he was a monster, it was fine to be a monster. No one in this world would dare to laugh at a powerhouse, even if powerhouse is a monster. Elder Wang's expression was ice cold as he clenched his fists tightly and shouted, "Kill him! Kill him! Kill him for me!" They were filled with incomparable hatred. A few Zhao family powerhouses surrounded Wang Tai. Wang Tai looked down upon them and laughed coldly. Come, everyone from the 3 great families, come. It was as if he had gone insane. The purple-clothed young girl was in danger and was slightly unable to withstand it, even though she understood the techniques and moves of the Karakoram, but her own cultivation was not strong, but she was still a middle-stage lower god cultivator. Her strength was not in battle. If not for a few Night King Valley killers blocking the damage for her, she would have died a long time ago. When the Karakoram clan elder saw the young man from Legend Palace lying heavily on the ground, his brows tightened and he shouted, "Kid, you dare to hurt him." The purple-clothed girl was also startled. "Who is he?" Elder of Kunlun clan replied, "Crown Prince." The purple-clothed girl's eyes shook and her heart sank as well. Sovereign, Crown Prince. The founder of the Legend Palace, the #1 powerhouse of the ancient god battle, the super powerhouse of the main temple, and also the commander of the light faction who controls the battleground? That's right, his eldest son. If anything happens to him, everyone here will be buried with him. Elder of Kunlun clan stared at the purple-clothed girl, then his footsteps quickened. Buzz! He landed beside Crown Prince, stared at Long Fei and shouted, "Brat, you dare touch him again." At this moment, the tens of thousands of HP floating above Crown Prince's head. This level of HP was only a single KO. He was a boss after all. This was the first boss that they had encountered since arriving at the ancient god battle. How could they not explode? If he encountered a boss that didn't drop, would he still be considered human? Animals are about the same. Long Fei grinned and said, "I've already moved so many times. How would I care about moving a little more?" At this time, the purple-clothed girl also quickly rushed over and pulled Long Fei back, saying, "This person cannot be killed." Crown Prince crawled up from the ground, his hair in a mess. He looked extremely miserable. He stared at Long Fei with sinister eyes and said, "Long Fei, as long as you stay in the primordial divine war, you will be hunted down forever. Just you wait. You want to kill me? Humph. If I die, everyone in this city will die with me. Try touching me. Crown Prince of the primordial divine war. Who dare to move? Let alone the power of the main temple. Even the power of the Legend Palace did not belong to any of the families or sections. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back, and he laughed coldly. Io, you're very arrogant. I like arrogant people like you. Because I was born to like trampling all over you arrogant people. Crown Prince, go to hell. Long Fei moved. He rushed forward. Crown Prince? Which Crown Prince would he care about? Even if the Emperor was in front of him, he would still kill him without hesitation. No one could stop him from destroying the boss heart. That's crazy. Chapter 2003, Mind Lost in Egg Poison. Chapter 2003, Mind Lost in Egg Poison. They saw Long Fei move. Crown Prince tensed up and immediately shouted, "Block it for me! Block it for me! Quick, quick, quick!" Fear rose in his heart. Long Fei was a madman, an absolute madman. He was the Crown Prince, so who would dare to touch him in the ancient god battle? No one could afford the consequences. But Long Fei was a madman. The elder of Kunlun clan blocked in front of Long Fei with a step and said with a heavy tone, "Scram." As soon as his voice faded, an incredibly dense chi of innate divine powers burst out, forming a powerful shockwave. With a hum, it struck Long Fei's body. A loud explosion resounded. Long Fei fiercely retreated. He went back to his original position, his face twisted. The purple-clothed girl once again grabbed Long Fei's arm, lightly shook her head, and said, "You can't touch him." Previously, the purple-clothed girl didn't know the identity of the youth. She only knew that he was the powerhouse in Legend Palace. But now that she knew he was the Crown Prince, she definitely could not make a move against him. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. If you don't let me move, I will still move. Today, I refuse to believe that I can't kill you. If he did not kill the boss, then he was not called Long Fei. Long Fei rushed out again. The Kunlun powerhouse shouted and said angrily, "You're overestimating yourself." The Crown Prince shouted in anger, "Kill him." The elder of Kunlun clan's eyes darkened as the innate true divine force on his body was released as if it was burning flames, forming a strangling power that surrounded Long Fei without waiting for Long Fei to charge forward. At this moment, Li Yuanba rushed forward. "Boom! You dare to touch my boss? Do you want to die?" With his strong physique, Li Yuanba was not even able to move in the slightest within the chi of the innate true origin released by the elder of Kunlun clan. The black giant spirit axe in his hand hacked down. Buzz! A large piece of it was shattered. At the same time, the Gods Commercial Alliance's white-haired powerhouse also flew over, blocking Long Fei once again. Crown Prince cannot die. If something were to happen to him, just as the elder of Kunlun clan had said, everyone here would die with him. Buzz! An enormous power once again blocked Long Fei. "I'll do it." Boom! Wong Tai twisted off the head of the golden poison corpse and rushed out. The heavenly bone force exploded out completely, blocking the power that the white-haired old man released. Long Fei took another step forward and landed in front of Crown Prince. The expression in the Crown Prince's eyes trembled as he said in a heavy voice, "Long Fei, you can't kill me, and you don't dare to kill me either. You will die, everyone here will die, and all those trash like you from the Devil Island who have become a god will all die. Is that so?" Long Fei's mouth twitched, the Yama edge moved, and a black broadsword landed on Crown Prince's shoulder. Plop! Crown Prince kneeled on the ground. His body trembled. His face paled. Crown Prince said, "Long Fei, don't kill me, don't kill me. I'll give you whatever you want." Facing death, even gods would be afraid, let alone a mere plane of Crown Prince. He was scared. Long Fei laughed. "Aren't you very arrogant? Aren't you the powerhouse in Legend Palace, the Crown Prince of the primordial divine battle dimension? Come, come, come. I'll put on an act again and have a look at your arrogance." Crown Prince clenched his fists tightly, but he simply did not have the power to fight with Long Fei right now. And he said, "Long Fei, I admit defeat. From today onwards, I will not be your enemy. I will keep my word." "So what if you admit defeat?" Long Fei said. Crown Prince asked, Then what else do you want? I'm the crown prince. My father is a god of the main temple. He is the commander of the battleground. If you really want to kill me, he won't let you go, right? You have to be arrogant. You have to be arrogant. You have to threaten me. Only then will it match your status. I like to step on second generations like you. As soon as Long Fei finished speaking, the Yama edge moved. He slashed horizontally. No, no, don't do it. Several powerhouse S roared. The purple-clothed girl's forehead tightened and her body couldn't help but tremble. Crack. One stroke horizontal slash. Crown Prince's head separated from his neck, and at that moment his eyes bulged out, staring straight at Long Fei, as his voice sounded in the air. Long Fei, my father will not let you go. Long Fei disdainfully said, Call him over. I won't let him off. Who won't let who go? At this moment, as his HP fell, a system notification sounded out. However, at the same time, the moment Long Fei killed Crown Prince, an extremely strong force exploded out of his body and entered Long Fei's body like a ball of smoke. Buzz. Long Fei's body shook, and his face instantly became pale. The purple-clothed girl's face changed. Mind lost in poison. Sky God. Long Fei's consciousness seemed to have been stuck in seal. He was unable to sense his sea of consciousness, and at the same time, he was unable to sense the existence of his mind, as he was completely trapped in a kind of numbing pain. He was forced to retreat, unable to control himself. His entire body and mind felt extremely uncomfortable. Crown Prince's father was the Sky God. He had planted a poison of death in the Crown Prince's body. Whoever killed him would be attacked by the mind-lost poison and be unable to resist. At that time, Long Fei simply could not react in time. Boss. Brother Fei. Long Fei. The three of them paled. The Karakoram clan's elders, the white-haired old man, Wang, Qi, and the elders from the other big clans also rushed to the side of Crown Prince's corpse. Elder of Kunlun clan's eyes turned sinister. He looked at the crumbling Long Fei and shouted, Kill him. Long Fei was someone that the main temple wanted. He is the man the Son of God wants. If he could obtain Long Fei's head, perhaps main temple could appear, and the Godchild could appear to pacify the Sky God's anger. Long Fei had to die. If Long Fei did not die, then they will be the ones to die. Bam! Long Fei fell to the ground, his face filled with pain. Dragon-shaped mark? Dragon fire. Burn! No matter how Long Fei called out, the dragon-shaped mark remained silent and did not emit any kind of dragon fire that could devour poison. Long Fei's consciousness also started to become more and more blurry. Who would have thought that someone would plant such a highly toxic poison into their own son's body? Boss! Li Yuanba roared, his eyes turning sinister. He turned and stared at the people rushing forward and bellowed, Fuck your ancestors. The black infernal energy on his body exploded forth. The surrounding dozen people were directly crushed into powder. Endless rage. The purple-clothed girl made her decision immediately, saying, Assassins in Night King Valley. Listen up, stop them. Now is not the time to fight. I have to take him out and find a cure quickly. Otherwise, the purple-clothed girl's forehead tightened. Li Yuanba asked, How's the General Assembly? The purple-clothed girl said in a heavy voice, He will die. His soul and mind will be completely drained. The eternal seal is in a certain place. There's no way to find it. Faster. Get out of here. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2004, Mad Killer. Chapter 2004, Mad Killer if Crown Prince died. Many people would die. God's commercial alliances. Karakoram. The great clans of Zhao, Wang, Qi, and Chen of the City of Martial Arts will all die. However, if they could catch Long Fei, they might not even die. Thus, when the purple-clothed girl said that she wanted to escape from the City of Martial Arts, the elder of Kunlun clan immediately shouted, Stop them. You absolutely cannot let them escape. The killer of Night King Valley blocked the attack. In God's commercial alliances, the experts from the various great families were also rushing forward. All of a sudden, The entire God's Hotel was filled with killing intent as blood flowed like a river. However, the killer of the Night King Valley did not last long, as the purple-clothed girl had not even managed to rush out of the God's Hotel before she was once again caught in a heavy encirclement. "Take our boss away first. I'll cover for you." Wang Tai took the lead and blocked the front. However, without waiting for him to finish speaking, shouts of war came from outside the God's Hotel as they surrounded the door. The elder of Kunlun clan sneered, "You won't be able to escape. Today, all of you must die here and pay with your lives for the Crown Prince's death." Li Yuanba shouted, "I want to see who dares to come up." All of Night King Valley's assassins had died, and only the 4 of them were left. To break out of City of Martial Arts, it was simply too difficult. Under such heavy encirclement, all the warriors in the City of Martial Arts would stop them, because if they escape, the whole city will die. The purple-clothed girl's forehead was locked tight. He couldn't think of any way. The influence of the Crown Prince was too terrifying, and Long Fei was in a severe coma. The mind-lost and poison, this kind of soul, had to have an antidote for this type of poison in their mind, otherwise they would never be able to wake up. Boom! Both sides took a step forward, and the encirclement shrunk again. Wang Tai shouted, "Fight out with them." The violet-robed maiden immediately said, "Don't be rash." Li Yuanba said, "Other than going all out, is there any other way?" "No. Damn it. If anyone dares to touch even a hair on the boss, I will blast them until they can't even enter hell." Clenching his fists tightly, his joints cracked. Li Yuanba was furious in his heart, but at the same time, he was panicking. He had endless strength, but he could not stop there. There were too many people in City of Martial Arts, so he couldn't run away. The white-haired old man from the Middle God, the old man from the Karakoram clan, no one could withstand the combined might of the 2 powerhouses. Li Yuanba thought, "It would be great if all of you were here. If even the 8 King Kong was present, there was no need to be afraid of the deities." The purple-clothed girl kept thinking, "With the 3 of us, it's not hard to find a way out. But he's unconscious, so..." It was hard to think of rushing out with an unconscious person. And then, when the purple-clothed girl saw the coffin on Li Yuanba's back, she immediately said, "Luby, can your coffin hold a person?" Li Yuanba was startled and said, "My coffin? Are you saying that we should leave the boss inside and kill the 3 of us?" The purple-clothed girl looked at Li Yuanba and nodded. "With your divine power, as long as Long Fei is in a safe place, it won't be hard for us to kill our way out, even though it was unlucky to have a living person in a coffin." However, at this time, Li Yuanba didn't think too much and said, "All right." In that instant, the Titan Godstone coffin on his back shook. Boom! As the lid of the sarcophagus fell, a purplish black and shining Titan lay inside. He was like a vivid and lifelike big dumpling that had fallen into a deep sleep. Li Yuanba leveled up. The guys in the sarcophagus also leveled up. However, Li Yuanba had never used the power of the giant spirit god before. And then, the purple-clothed girl then placed Long Fei into the sarcophagus. Li Yuanba slightly said, "Boss, I have wronged you." Boom! After the sarcophagus was covered once again, Li Yuanba placed it on his back and clenched his fists tightly. Pure energy exploded outwards, forming a powerful explosion. Hee. Li Yuanba grinned innocently and said, "Come now." There were no worries now. He could just kill them all he wanted. Elder of Kunlun clan frowned and said coldly, "Do you think you can escape just because of this? You all have no idea what the death of Crown Prince means. You have no idea how terrifying he is. Everyone listen up. You definitely can't let the 4 of them escape. Otherwise, the City of Martial Arts will become a river of blood. Kill them all. Kill." The overwhelming number of warriors rushed up. Pincer attack. If they were to fight, they would have to fight. If Long Fei didn't die, they would die. Li Yuanba said solemnly, "Come." The broken sect. Open. Diamond forbidden technique. The 3 doors in Li Yuanba's body suddenly opened. An incomparably thick power, gate of pain, burst out. holding onto the giant spirit axe with one hand. He took a step forward, and the pure power from his body swept out like a fierce wind. The giant spirit axe swept over. A large number of people were sent flying. The purple-clothed girl and Wang Tai followed closely behind. Come on, come with me. Li Yuanba started killing crazily. Those who block me die. Elder of Kunlun clan did not attack, but kept on pressing on. He was waiting for the moment Li Yuanba relaxed. The white-haired powerhouse was also waiting for Ben to be shot. In another area, Legend Palace. In the altar hall, the Crown Prince's jade tablet suddenly fell down, causing the entire Legend Palace to be greatly shocked. What's going on? Something bad has happened. Something bad has happened. Something has happened. Something big has happened. The Crown Prince died in the city of martial arts. Crap. Immediately send out the powerhouse. Find that person for me. Every powerhouse had their own jade plates, which were placed on the sacrificial hall. These jade plates had a trace of their chi. The moment they fell, the jade plates would collapse. Crown Prince's jade tablet had collapsed. The entire powerhouse in Legend Palace was shocked. The Crown Prince's cultivation was not the strongest, but his identity was known to everyone in the Legend Palace. His death caused many people's hearts to turn cold. After a short half a minute, the 100 powerhouses all flew out towards the city of martial arts. Master, do you want to inform Main Temple? Should I inform the Lord of Sky God? Within the hall, an old man asked. Seated on the high seat, the man frowned and asked, who exactly dares to make a move on Crown Prince? Is he tired of living? Cluck, cluck. The air seemed as though it was going to split apart. The killing intent was incomparably sinister. Half a moment. The man said, inform Main Temple, inform Lord Sky God, no matter what. Crown Prince is a member of our Legend Palace. No matter what price you have to pay, you must capture him alive. It's a live capture. The old man nodded. I'll do it. Chapter 2005, Li Yuanba, heavily injured. Chapter 2005, Li Yuanba, heavily injured city of martial arts. The sky was dark and the ground was covered in smoke. The entire city of martial arts was a river of blood. After 3 consecutive days and nights of fierce killing, Li Yuanba, Wang Tai, the purple-clothed girl were already exhausted. Their divine powers had been completely used up, and their bodies were also dripping with fresh blood and riddled with scars. They were still 100 meters away from the city of martial arts' city gates. Within 100 meters, the crowd surged. No one took a step back. If he didn't die, then he would die. They're going to die soon. I can't hold on any longer. They don't have the slightest bit of holy power value left in their bodies. The surrounding people shouted, and the encirclement once again surrounded him. Everyone forced their way in. As long as you hand Long Fei over, we will let you leave. Do you understand? We only want Long Fei's life. Anyways, he has already been infected with the mind-lostenic poison. This poison has no antidote. He is dead for sure. Just give him to us, and you will be free. People kept talking. Li Yuanba glared and shouted, if you have the guts, then come up and grab it. Don't be like this in the crowd. At this moment, the crowd was in an uproar. Wang Tai, you monster, look who's here. Amongst the Wang family's people, an old man was escorting a woman who was over 100 years old. However, she had already walked out with a head full of white hair. Mother! Wang Tai's voice trembled as he looked at his mother. His heart felt like it was being pierced by needles. Once, she was as beautiful as a flower and the #1 beauty in City of Martial Arts. But now, however, she looked like an old woman in her 70s or 80s. The Azure Dragon did not look like it. Seeing his mother like this, Wang Tai's heart ached. Without waiting for the woman to get close, the elder of the Wang family kicked the woman in the back to keep up with her. He immediately kicked her to her knees and shouted, Wang Tai, do you still want to take your mother's life? Seeing his mother being kicked to her knees, Wang Tai felt as if he had gone mad and roared, Wang Changchuan, I'll kill you. Ha ha! Wang Changchuan laughed out loud and said, Wang Tai, I'll give you a choice. 3 choices, You can kill anyone beside you, or yourself. If I finish, I'll let your mother go." The woman immediately shook her head and said, "Turtle, shut up, pon." A slap sounded out. "Only a slut like you can give birth to such a monster. Look at what your son looks like. What a monster." Ah, ah. Wang Tai acted as if he had gone mad. He crazily rushed forward, but was firmly held back by Li Yuanba. As long as he rushed forward, the Wang family disciples would immediately make their move. Looking at Wang Tai's mad appearance, many of the Wang clan disciples ridiculed him. A monster is a monster. I didn't expect the monster to be so filial. Grand Elder, he's actually so filial. Why don't we help him? Yeah. Wang Chongquan sneered coldly. Wang Tai, as long as you kill yourself or one of the people beside you, I will let your mother go and you. Hurry up and make a decision, Wang Tai roared. His eyes were red and bloodshot as he scolded incessantly. The more he scolded, the happier the Wang clan members became. Li Yuanba shouted, "I will die." Wang Chongquan's eyes lit up and he laughed loudly. "All right, then die." Li Yuanba was the strongest fighting force out of the three of them. If he died, Wang Tai and the other two would never be able to leave City of Martial Arts, let alone the Long Fei lying in the coffin. Everyone was secretly delighted. Li Yuanba was too terrifying. He was like a monster. Wang Tai looked at Li Yuanba and said, "Brotherly." Li Yuanba said, "If I die, you let those two go." The woman immediately said, "No." "Shut up, Pa." The woman's white hair was in a mess. Her face was covered in 5 fingers, and blood was hanging from the corner of her mouth. However, her eyes were filled with determination as she said solemnly, "Tyre, Mother has always been proud of you. In this life, you can choose your own path for yourself or others, and persevere to the end. Mother will look at you from the sky. Mom knows about everything that has happened recently. You have a group of good friends and brothers. Mom is really happy for you, so you should follow them down." Finished. Madame Ye's forehead suddenly hit the ground, and she kowtowed to him. The head ruptured. His body suddenly bounced up, and with a smile on his lips, he looked at Wang Tai and slowly fell to the ground. Mother! It was as if the pain in Wang Tai's heart disappeared. In that instant, he rushed out explosively. Wang Chongquan glared at her. Damned slut. He stomped on the woman's head and stomped heavily. His head was crushed. Li Yuanba was furious. He had seen cruel people before, but he had never seen cruel people like him. His entire body was also blasted away in an instant. Kill him. Wang Chongquan's eyes turned vicious. The Wang family disciples rushed up to him. Wang Tai didn't even try to defend himself when he was pierced by the sword. A moment later, he was bleeding profusely, but his speed was not reduced in the slightest. He pounced forward. He jumped at Wang Chongquan, opened his mouth, and bit off Wang Chongquan's nose, punching him in the face. He kept roaring. He was venting. Wang Chongquan was unable to react to the continuous punches. His face was badly mangled, and his body had become stiff. However, Wang Tai did not stop. He continued to attack until his face was split open. All of it turned into blood, as if he did not have a head. At this moment, the Wang clan disciples were all scared silly. Li Yuanba stood behind Wang Tai and firmly blocked the attacks of the others. However, at this moment, Elder of Kunlun clan, the white-haired powerhouse, and the others who had been hiding in the crowd, all this while suddenly moved. The violet-robed maiden immediately shouted, "Careful! Right and left pincers!" It directly flew towards Li Yuanba. It was too fast. For 3 days and 3 nights, they waited without making a move. He was waiting for a chance to make a move. In the face of Wang Tai's madness, in the face of Li Yuanba's rash actions, this was too good of an opportunity. Li Yuanba reacted quickly, but in his current state, no matter how fast he reacted, his physical body would not be able to keep up. Boom, boom, right and left pincers. Li Yuanba's body trembled on the spot. The left and right ribs were broken. He spat out a mouthful of black blood, his face as pale as paper. However, Li Yuanba laughed foolishly and said, "Is that all you have?" He forced himself to stay here. Elder of Kunlun clan laughed coldly and said, "Even at this time, you're still holding on? Your internal organs are all rotten. Can you still hold on?" Li Yuanba, heavily injured. Chapter 2006, Six Gates Open, Extremely Violent. Chapter 2006, Six Gates Open, Extremely Violent, the sneak attack of the Middle God's powerhouse. Either he didn't make a move, or he would be killed in a single blow. If it was anyone else, they would have died long ago. However, Li Yuanba's physical body was completely different from ordinary people. His physical body had been thoroughly tempered, but even so, in a situation where his strength was exhausted, he still received heavy injuries. Wang Tai also suddenly woke up from his stupor, turned around, and looked at Li Yuanba, whose mouth was continuously bleeding black blood. In an instant, he rushed to his side and supported him. Li Yuanba said naively, "It's fine. What's wrong with this little injury?" The purple-clothed girl frowned as she screamed in her heart, "Crap." Li Yuanba was their strongest fighting force. If he was severely injured, he would definitely not be able to make it out of this 100-meter distance. What should he do? The purple-clothed girl was panicking. "You still want to argue? Ha! Luby, you'll die soon. Why hold on any longer? Hand Long Fei over, and we will let you die quietly." The elder of Kunlun clan said with a smile. When he had used his full strength in that previous move, Li Yuanba in this state would definitely not be able to withstand it. A mouthful of black blood rolled on the right side of his chest, and he couldn't help but spit it out. Li Yuanba's body became even weaker. The white-haired powerhouse revealed a smile and said, "You can't hold on any longer, right? Ha ha! You being able to persevere for so long, I really admire you. If I had more time, you could have obtained Middle God, or even a High God. Ah, what a pity. You chose the wrong master and followed someone who is destined to die. Otherwise, the ancient divine war would definitely have a world of its own for you." Elder of Kunlun clan said, "All right, hand him over." Hoo. Li Yuanba looked like he was gasping for breath. The coffin behind him suddenly dropped to the ground. Boom! The coffin fell to the ground, and the ground shook violently. The white-haired powerhouse and the elder of Kunlun clan revealed a complacent smile. With Li Yuanba being heavily injured, the purple-clothed girl and Wang Tai would not be a problem. The coffins fell. It seemed like he really couldn't take it anymore. Inside the coffin, the eyes of the giant spirit god's corpse suddenly opened. At the same time, a ray of power flowed into Long Fei's body. And then, the giant spirit god's corpse regained its silence, as if it had fallen into a deep slumber again. However, the powerful giant spirit god aura on its body had disappeared. Long Fei's mind sounded out. Long Fei, Long Fei, Long Fei. Who's calling me? Who is it? The giant spirit god's voice pierced straight into Long Fei's sea of consciousness. "I'm a Titan. Li Yuanba is in danger. You must wake up. Big guy." Mimi, the giant spirit god, knew that Long Fei was trying really hard, but he couldn't even feel his own sea of consciousness. How could he wake up? "Use my body." Long Fei trembled. "Is that all right?" The Titans said, "With your strength, there shouldn't be a problem. Many of the powerhouses are getting closer and closer to the city of martial arts. You have to wake up, and only if you wake up can you stop everything." Long Fei said anxiously, "Then let me control your body." The Titan god said, "All right, I will activate the soul transfer spell." Li Yuanba said solemnly, "If you want my lord's life, then come up and take it." Ha. Still holding on? Let's see how long you can last. Elder of Kunlun clan was getting impatient. He looked at the white-haired powerhouse, and his eyes lit up. In that instant, the two of them worked together again. The powerhouse of the Middle God was extremely powerful. How fast is he? In the blink of an eye, they had disappeared into the sky as two powerful forces surged towards Li Yuanba. The purple-clothed girl's expression changed, and she said, "Luby, be careful. Brotherly, be careful. Wang Tai wanted to block off the side, but he realized Li Yuanba, who was beside him, had suddenly disappeared. At this time, Li Yuanba did not have the strength to fight back. How could he suddenly disappear? There was an explosion in the air. Gate of limit, open. Gate of view, open. Die door, open. The 3 doors were opened, which was 6 of the 8 gates. This was Li Yuanba's current limit. The Gate of Wonder was one of the 8 gates. He couldn't open it, but the opening of these 6 gates was enough to shock the world and make the spirits cry. However, in this state, opening the 6 gates would cause great harm to his body, especially to his longevity. However, he was King Kong. He was the head of Long Fei's 8 King Kong, and his life was born for Long Fei. The 3 gates opened wide, and the power in Li Yuanba's body poured into the sea like a great river. In the blink of an eye, boom, boom, with 2 loud bangs, one in each hand, one in each hand. It was like carrying 2 chickens. Everyone was dumbfounded. In the air, Li Yuanba was like a Vajra, looking at the 2 in his hands. The 6 energy in his body burned frantically. You 2 want my boss's life? You guys are qualified as well. As soon as he finished, Li Yuanba's body dropped from the sky. With one hand grabbing onto one, he smashed fiercely into the ground. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The ground started to crack crazily, and the city of martial arts started to tremble. The surrounding hundreds of kilometers were all filled with tremors. This move, the white-haired powerhouse and the elder of Kunlun clan instantly lost half their lives. Fresh blood crazily spurted from their mouths. They were in incomparable pain. At that moment, they felt that Li Yuanba was like a giant, grabbing them in an instant, not waiting for them to react. Once again, Li Yuanba raised them up into the air and fiercely smashed them down to the ground. Rumble, rumble. All 6 doors were open with unparalleled violence, terrifying to the point of being a complete mess. Li Yuanba was simply too fierce. The cultivation of the first stage of Lower God directly oppressed the powerhouse S. Vajra's might. Boom, boom, continuously smashing. The white-haired powerhouse and the elder of Kunlun clan gradually stopped breathing. Li Yuanba basically did not let go and continued to smash fiercely a few times and shouted continuously, "Are you even worthy to touch my boss? Do you think you're qualified?" In the end, his body broke into half. The 2 great powerhouse S were killed just like that. The remaining warriors were all dumbfounded. They thought that Li Yuanba and the other 2 were exhausted and had no strength left. But now, if this were the case, could he still be considered human? Completely a monster. Many people were scared out of their wits. Li Yuanba glared with his eyes wide opened and shouted out, "Who else wants to harm my boss? Who?" His voice was like thunder, crushing everything in his path. The entire hall was silent. Not a single sound could be heard. The entire arena was crushed. Li Yuanba carried the coffin on his back and walked towards the entrance of the city of martial arts. Wang Tai also carried his mother's corpse on his back. The purple-clothed girl looked at Li Yuanba's back and muttered, "He really is a fierce man." At this moment, the walls of the city of martial arts flashed with a golden light, like a meteor falling. Buzz, buzz, buzz. More than 10 rays of golden light descended, and the powerhouse in Legend Palace arrived. Chapter 2007, The Awakening of the Titan. Chapter 2007, The Awakening of the Titan Shua. Shua, shua. Rays of golden light fell upon the city walls. One incomparably sharp aura after another began to spread out. A dozen or so powerhouses, dozens of cold eyes, stared at Li Yuanba and the other 2. The Lord of Legend Palace is here. It's the people from the Legend Palace. Are they going to slaughter the city? Master, the 3 of them are the ones who killed Crown Prince. The ones who are them originally. The people who were completely crushed by Li Yuanba had all started to seethe with excitement. The arrival of the powerhouse in Legend Palace had caused them to feel even more afraid because they were worried that these powerhouse were here to kill them. It had to be known that in the powerhouse in Legend Palace, even the combined forces of the entire city of martial arts wouldn't be a match for him. Li Yuanba's forehead sank. The purple-dressed woman's expression also changed. It's powerhouse in Legend Palace. Be careful. Wang Tai had also heard of the Legend Palace. This was the first time a dozen or so powerhouse had appeared at the same time. In other words, today, they were unable to leave the city of martial arts. Boom! His figure moved, and the moment he landed, the ground suddenly shook. A strong wind blew away the sand and rocks. In the blink of an eye, he had landed in front of Li Yuanba. Li Yuanba secretly clenched both his fists as he felt the limitless power the man in front of him had, to the point where he was almost unable to endure it any longer. Now, the power of Li Yuanba's 6 open doors had already disappeared. His body was in incomparable discomfort, and he was completely relying on brute force. It could collapse at any moment. Facing Legend Palace at this time, Li Yuanba grinned and said, "So what if I am?" Very arrogant. He was the King Kong, and the King Kong must have the aura of the King Kong. So what if you're a Legend Palace? I'm just not afraid. The man lightly said, "Very good." At this time, the people at the side shouted loudly. It was not him who killed them. The one who killed Crown Prince is hiding in the coffin on his back. It's the brat inside. Oh, the man's brows twitched, looked at Li Yuanba, and said, "Hand the person over. I'll leave an intact corpse for you." Li Yuanba laughed innocently and said, "If you have the guts, come and snatch it." Buzz. With a loud rumbling sound, Li Yuanba's body swayed slightly. It was simply overdrawing his life. Humph. With just you overestimate yourself. As soon as he finished, the man's eyes darkened. He dashed forward and struck out with his palm. Li Yuanba's reaction was also fast as he threw out a punch and roared out, "Relying on this daddy." However, the moment his power came into contact with it, it was as if his power was instantly strangled to death. His entire body was in extreme pain, and he felt incomparable discomfort. Boom! His body flew out and crashed into the ground 100 meters away. A building collapsed, burying Li Yuanba within the ruins. Insensible, Brother Li, son of the Lubi, Wang Tai and the purple-clothed girl shouted. Wang Tai roared. The power of the god's bone taboo in his body erupted even more crazily. He immediately pulled out a black ancient blade from his body and slashed out. Another one is courting death. The man's eyes turned cold. He did not even put Wang Tai in his eyes. His body flickered, and his palms swept across the air. Boom! Wang Tai's body was blown away and smashed into a straight line, turning a building into ruins. 2 moves. It was as though he had no power at all, but they were instantly killed. This power, this cultivation base. Terrifying. The violet-robed maiden's body couldn't help but begin to tremble slightly. The powerhouse in Legend Palace was too powerful. Furthermore, this was just one person, and there were more than 10 people standing on top of the city walls. How could they be his match? He couldn't beat them at all. The purple-clothed girl was constantly thinking of ways, but this time, she really couldn't think of any. It had to be known that this was a world of powerhouse. Before you become strong enough, any method will be useless as a paper tiger. The Legend Palace man looked at the purple-clothed girl and said coldly, "Night King's descendant. Is the Crown Prince here for you? Hand over the blood sacrifice bracelet. I will leave you with a complete corpse." The purple-clothed girl said solemnly, "Since you know that I am Night Queen, then you should understand the relationship between the Night King Valley and the main temple, and the relationship between thee and the sovereign. You dare." Not waiting for her to finish, the man moved slightly and instantly landed in front of the purple-clothed youth. The distance between them was less than 10 centimeters, and the man said coldly, "There is nothing in this world that Legend Palace doesn't dare to do." Her voice was cold. The violet-robed maiden couldn't withstand it at all. His face was incomparably pale. F***CK. Are you bullying my sister-in-law? You're courting death. Rumble. There was an explosion from the rubble, and an enormous figure charged out. Li Yuanba. The man raised his eyes and sneered. He's not dead yet. Is his life really that tough? Without waiting for Li Yuanba to fall, the man disappeared and hovered in midair. With one foot on Li Yuanba's head, the chi on his body exploded, and he shouted, "Fall for me!" Boom! Li Yuanba's body was like a nail, nailed firmly to the ground. He simply could not control it, and he could not control it either. Rumble! The other half of its body was inserted into the ground. The giant spirit coffin on his back also tumbled to the side. The joints of his feet cracked. All of them shattered. Li Yuanba spat out a mouthful of black blood, and his face became even paler, but there was no fear in his eyes. He felt displeased. If he did not consume 3 days and 3 nights, he would have definitely made this so-called powerhouse in Legend Palace eat feces. But now, under his heavy injuries, his strength had already started to dry up. However, he was Li Yuanba. He was King Kong. He still had more power. The idea moved. The Titan spirit god that was connected to the giant spirit coffin roared out loudly. Titan spirit god. Boom! The lid of the coffin was suddenly lifted. His strength shook violently. But the Titan didn't rush out in an instant. Everyone looked at the coffin, and after half a minute, they all started laughing. Ha ha. Ha ha. I always thought that there was some sort of powerful secret behind his coffin. It looks like, so it's just a joke. Ha ha. It's scary to carry a coffin on your back. So you're just here to act cool. He's probably prepared to die for himself at any moment. Ha ha. Everyone laughed. Powerhouse and Legend Palace also sneered coldly. Li Yuanba frowned. He did not understand. Why would it be like this? Why is this happening? Why can't I sense the Titan god? Why do I feel like the Titan has fallen into a deep sleep? Why? At this moment, Li Yuanba panicked a little. This was the first time in his life that he could not sense the existence of the Titan. However, at this moment, a pitch-black hand suddenly stretched out from within the coffin. Chapter 2008, Berserk. Chapter 2008, Berserk. A black African hand suddenly stretched out. The entire audience went into an uproar. Everyone widened their eyes and looked over. Li Yuanba's eyes moved. He could not help but become excited. However, he still couldn't sense the aura of the Titan. Boom! The Titan god suddenly stood up from the coffin. In his hand was not the giant spirit axe, but a black broadsword. Long phase Yama edge. Li Yuanba was a little confused. What's the situation? The surrounding people slowly retreated. The man from the Legend Palace laughed in disdain. You're just pretending to be mysterious. As soon as he finished, his entire body was sent flying. A powerful pressure was released as his palm struck down. Die! With a cold shout, the Legend Palace's attack had already landed. Giant spirit god. To be exact, it should be Long Fei right now. Long Fei stood in place without moving an inch. When the attack landed on his body, he didn't feel any pain at all, not even the strength needed to tickle him. With a flick of his body, he landed in mid-air, which was more than 10 meters away, stared at Long Fei with sinister and cold eyes, and muttered, "Giant spirit god?" Li Yuanba laughed out loud. "Kill him for me." Half of his body was nailed to the ground, and blood was trickling from the corner of his mouth. There were wounds all over his body. The violet-clothed young girl was more or less the same. Wang Tai disappeared. When Long Fei saw all of this, the flames of fury in his heart started to burn, and even instantly burned to a height of 30,000 meters. He was unconscious for 3 days and 3 nights. If not for the giant spirit god soul transfer, he would still be in a coma right now. He didn't know what had happened while he was unconscious, but now he knew. On top of the city wall, a man said, "Since that big guy was the one who made it, even if it's a undead creatures, as long as we kill the Baldy, the undead creatures will naturally fall apart." "You're right." The man smiled and said, "Then you will die first." Shwa. The man moved once again as he descended from the air, smashing his palm towards Li Yuanba's head. Long Fei raised his eyes slightly. "Those who hurt my brother die." The body of the Titan spirit god was very huge, even bigger than Li Yuanba's body. His physical body was a divine body, and adding on the power of hell, his physical body would become even stronger. At that moment, Long Fei moved and completely controlled the giant spirit god's body. His speed was extremely fast. He had never felt such a violent power before. Boom! He landed beside Li Yuanba first, and not waiting for man to fall, Long Fei swept the Yama edge blade in his hand away. Bam! It was like cutting something. The man's body was sent flying. Long Fei did not stop. His body slightly swayed schwa. Again. He landed on the side, and before the man landed on the ground, the back of his blade moved schwa. He swept out again. The man from Legend Palace flew towards another direction. Long Fei's body still did not stop moving. Schwa, schwa, whoosh, 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 asterisk 10 times in a row. Everyone was stunned, including Li Yuanba herself. She muttered, "Giant spirit god's power. It shouldn't be like this, right? Could it be? Boss? No, no, no. How could Boss be a Titan?" Li Yuanba did not know about the temporary soul transfers from the giant spirit god and Long Fei. Right now, lying in the coffin was Long Fei, but it was actually the mind of the Titan, the sea of consciousness. However, Long Fei's was released. This sort of soul-type technique couldn't be used for too long. If it was used too long, it would harm the brain. Then again, in the soul exchange between Long Fei and the Titan spirit god, his system was still in his body, in his brain. The system was his strongest secret. Even the Titan spirit god wouldn't know. Thus, Long Fei had to return to real face. However, now, he didn't have to worry. 10 horizontal slashes. The aura of the Legend Palace was completely gone, and he was ruthlessly ravaged to death by Long Fei just like that. The entire audience was silent. There was no sound at all. It was also at this time, Wang Tai crawled out from the ruins, and upon seeing the powerhouse in Legend Palace dead on the ground, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. No matter how crazy you are, your sister. Long Fei looked at Wang Tai and immediately said, "Get him up. You three, hurry and leave the city." The purple-clothed girl felt that the giant spirit god was Long Fei and couldn't help but ask, "What about you?" Long Fei looked at the dozens of Legend Palace S on the wall and said, "I'll be behind." At this moment, another Legend Palace descended. Boom! You want to leave? It won't be that easy. However, the instant he landed on the ground, the Yama edge in Long Fei's hand moved once again. The power of half a main artifact exploded out completely as it slashed downwards. Schwa! That person's body instantly became 2 halves. Long Fei's heart was in great pain because the system hadn't brought him over, so he couldn't gain any EXP at all. Right now, he did not even know what had happened in Crown Prince. Blood splattered everywhere. Long Fei shouted loudly, "Fuck, who else is there?" Insolent to the point of being a complete mess. Even the powerhouse in Legend Palace looked down on him. The moment they appeared, they would be instantly killed. Who will be able to block them? Come again. Who else dares to stop me? Long Fei roared heavily. The remaining Legend Palaces were also slightly shocked and were slightly shocked. Wang Tai supported Li Yuanba as he smiled excitedly at the Titan spirit god while carrying the coffin. He knew that the boss must be controlling the Titan spirit god inside its body. If not, who would have thought the boss would have such an arrogant personality? The purple-clothed girl also came up to support Li Yuanba. The three of them walked towards the city gate. Once they left the city, they would be able to escape. Long Fei stood where he was without moving, the chi around his body, suppressing the enemy. Whoever dared to move would die. On the city wall, the dozen or so powerhouse S trembled slightly. No one can afford the death of the Crown Prince. I have to stop him. We can't let them go. And Amp. Legend Palace was the strongest power in the primordial divine war, and even directly connected to the existence of the main temple. No matter who they wanted their life for, they wouldn't be able to escape. They were the masters of this world. How could they let Long Fei escape? In that instant, dozens of voices sounded out in unison, and all of them fell to the ground. Powerhouse in Legend Palace didn't even want to join hands, but now, The power that erupted from Long Fei's body forced them to join hands. Long Fei was surrounded by dozens of powerhouse. Moreover, at this moment, the other warriors from City of Martial Arts also surrounded him, surrounding him so tightly that not even a drop of water could leak out. He couldn't get out at all. Li Yuanba wanted to turn back. Long Fei shouted loudly, "Go!" It was also at this time. The giant spirit god's voice suddenly sounded. Long Fei, it's almost time. If you don't come back soon, your soul will never come back. Give me a little more time. Just a little is enough. Long Fei's heart sank, his fists clenched tightly. I still have another thousands of people beheaded that I have not used. Chapter 2009, Thousands of People Beheaded. Tu Cheng. Chapter 2009, Thousands of People Beheaded. Tu Cheng. There was no time. The soul was a very important part of a person's body. No soul is equal to a vegetable. More importantly, the system would also be forever asleep in Long Fei's body. The system was the foundation of Long Fei's standing. If it was gone, then it would be an immeasurable loss. The system also had too many unknown secrets. Who made it? Then who planted it in Long Fei's sea of consciousness? No matter what, Long Fei didn't even want to lose the system. The Titan urged, I can't hold it off for too long, and your soul can't hold it in my body for too long. In short, Long Fei, you have to be a bit faster. With that, the Titan's voice disappeared from Long Fei's body. He didn't want to give Long Fei too much pressure. As Long Fei watched Li Yuanba and the other two run out of the City of Martial Arts' gate, his heart relaxed a little. He swept the area with his gaze. 12 Legend Palaces. Hundreds of disciples from the City of Martial Arts' 4 great families. Think about it. It's not even enough for 1,000 people. Let me see if you can really slash down and kill 1,000 people. In that instant, Long Fei's mind sank and said faintly, Giant Spirit God, release all of the power within your divine body. Boom! The Titan, the god of power. Receiving Long Fei's call, the power within his body erupted out like a flood, and his right hand clenched heavily. Wong! The Yama edge was burning. Black lightning crackled and exploded. Long Fei took a step forward. Wong! Boom! Lightning exploded, and the surroundings were filled with electric fields. Powerhouse and Legend Palace looked at each other and stepped out at the same time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk a dozen or so powerful pressuring auras pressed down on him, causing the Titan god's body to tremble as if he could not take it any longer. All of you come at me. Long Fei shouted excitedly, his mind becoming one. Knife, heart, strength, fit. In that moment, with one point gathered together, Long Fei's body shot out into the air, reaching a height of 1,000 meters before City of Martial Arts' eyes. One slash, buzz, the sky darkened. With a sudden pressure, the Legend Palace, as chasing from below, suddenly felt an extremely strong pressure and directly plummeted down from the sky. Thousands of people beheaded. He moved. Long Fei held onto his blade with both of his hands, releasing the power of the thousands of people beheaded. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The blade chi wreaked havoc crazily, covering tens of thousands of kilometers in the sky of the entire City of Martial Arts, and the sky was filled with cracks. The Yama edge's critical strike. Break through the defenses. Speed, strength. It was also the strongest when compared to the thousands of people beheaded as sabersmanship. A furious slash. Rumble. Blade chi that was tens of thousands of kilometers in radius descended from the sky, shooting down like a gigantic beam of light. There was no one alive under the sword and the thousands of people beheaded. Death descended. The gates of hell opened. No one could stop it. Powerhouse in Legend Palace. Those warriors of the 4 families were all instantly killed. Too fierce, too crazy, too strong. The power of thousands of people beheaded. Long Fei felt extremely shocked just by looking at it. Fuck, what a mess. But my experience, my madness. Woo-woo. I want to cry. I feel terrible. These were all experience points. They were items that could give out precious items. It just disappeared. This was a situation where Long Fei did not have a system. He truly felt that it was difficult to adapt, but the excitement of the thousands of people beheaded slightly compensated for that. What happened in the city? How's the boss? Why is there no sound from the city? Li Yuanba's entire body was in extreme pain. His 2 legs were already crippled, and he basically couldn't stand properly. Li Yuanba said, "Wang Tai, quickly go take a look. The giant spirit god is the boss. We cannot let anything happen to the boss." Li Yuanba did not say it out loud, but his heart tightened. His prophecy of disaster was still not this. The predicted calamity had yet to appear. However, Long Fei still had a slim chance of survival. How many more times would he have to go through such life or death situations? If a calamity wasn't so dangerous, then what would it be like if a calamity were to appear? Li Yuanba's heart was in pain. No matter how much pain he felt physically with both of his legs crippled, what was the point in comparing this pain with Long Fei's? Wang Tai quickly rushed back to City of Martial Arts. The moment he stepped into the city, he was stunned. What was called a river of blood? This was the true river of blood. The streets were flooded with blood. The surrounding buildings were all covered in a layer of blood. The entire city was a mess, as if it was hell on earth. The massacre of the people in the city was only mediocre. Not far from the city gate stood a man covered in blood. In his hand was a large black knife. Even when blood was all over the ground, the black knife that was glowing with a black light was not stained with the slightest bit of blood. He was like a god of death. Fierce, terrifying. The aura emitted from his body could crush a person's mind. Wang Tai's mind tensed up. "Brother Fei." He quickly rushed up, and the moment Wang Tai was about to support him, Long Fei said in a low voice, "Quickly, put me back into the coffin." As soon as he finished, he fell down. As time passed, the Titan and his soul were no longer able to hold on. Moreover, the moment he released the thousands of people beheaded, all of the giant spirit god's energy was drained, and this made it even more unbearable. His soul was about to be peeled off. If he didn't hurry, he would never be able to return. System archive. The physical body was sealed. Everything will disappear. Wang Tai carried the giant spirit god's corpse and rushed out crazily rushing out. "Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up." The voice of the Titan became weaker and weaker, unable to hold on. However, only Long Fei could hear his voice, but she could not. Soul transfer techniques were too dangerous. But at that time, if Long Fei did not transfer his soul, they would all die here. If you had to blame anything, you could only blame the sky god for being too sinister. He actually planted a mind-losting poison in his own son's body. "He's here." When the purple-clothed girl saw Wang Tai frantically attacking, she couldn't help but frown. Li Yuanba also realized that the situation was urgent and changed the topic. Li Yuanba moved and opened the lid. With a palm attack hitting the coffin, the giant spirit coffin flew out in a straight line and directly landed in front of Wang Tai. Wang Tai also instantly put the giant spirit god's corpse back into the coffin. Buzz! The lid of the coffin fell off and closed again. In that instant, a buzzing sound erupted from the coffin. The soul transfer technique activated once more. After a long time, the giant spirit god's idea, sound transmission, entered Li Yuanba's mind. "He is very weak. The mind-losting poison is too ferocious. I have to find a place to rest and find the antidote." Li Yuanba's heart tensed up. He looked at the purple-clothed girl and said, "Boss needs the antidote. He needs a place to recuperate. Do you have a place to?" The purple-clothed girl did not think too much about it and said slightly, "Let's go to the Night King Valley." Chapter 2010, White Robe Oracle. Chapter 2010, White Robe Oracle. The world was too big. There was no place for it. The Night King Valley was the only path they could take. Long Fei had just arrived at the primordial divine war, so his city of martial arts Wang family no longer existed. As for Li Yuanba, it was the same. Amongst the 4 of them, only the violet-robed maiden had anywhere to go. However, Although the purple-clothed girl said that she was going to the Night King Valley, she couldn't help but become worried. This time when she came out, she was met with opposition from many clan elders. The death of another slave, as well as the death of the Night King Valley's elites, it was unknown whether or not she could enter the valley. Right now, there was no other way. Long Fei needed a place to rest, and even more so, the antidote. One day later, inside Legend Palace, a man with white robes embroidered with white clouds was standing on high seat. Sky God Envoy. All of the powerhouse kneeled on the ground, not even daring to breathe loudly. The death of the crown prince continued to ferment, and the sky god was furious. Main temple. There were quite a few ripples on the battleground. Many people knew of this person, or rather, there was a madman called Long Fei. My lord has said that we can't just let the crown prince die like this. No matter who he is, he must pay for the crown prince's death with his own life. The white-robed oracle spoke slowly. However, Master has been busy with cultivation recently and didn't have the time to come down, so he had to rely on you to kill Long Fei. This is also your chance to redeem yourself. Do not disappoint my lord. Otherwise, not only will you all suffer, I will suffer as well. Understood? The eyes of the white-robed figure trembled, a hint of cold disdain in his words. The elder of the Legend Palace immediately said, Understood, understood. We will definitely do our best to not let you down. We will not let you down. I don't want all of you to give it your all. I want all of you to take Long Fei down. The white-robed oracle's gaze sank. The Legend Palace elder immediately said, Definitely, definitely, definitely. Very good. The white-robed envoy smiled. Do you have any plans? The elder was silent for a moment, then said, I have already issued the Legend Palace's pursuit order. The moment we discover them, it would be hard for them to escape death. Legend Palace? Chasing order? TCH. The white-robed receiver sneered, expressing his disdain. That's it. The elder's gaze tightened, and his body trembled uncontrollably. In the primordial divine war, the Legend Palace possessed supreme power. But in front of the main temple, they were nothing more than ants, incomparably insignificant. Even an oracle would be able to easily crush them. At this time, another young elder said, Master, there is only one place they can go, and that is the Night King Valley. As long as we block their way, they will definitely be cut off. The white-robed receiver said, Continue. The young elder said, According to what I know, Long Fei has already been infected by a mind-lostenic poison and is in a coma. If it's too long, he'll never wake up, so they need to find a place to rest and then search for the antidote. The antidote for this poison. The white-robed receiver spoke out. The mind-lostenic poison's antidote was personally concocted by the sky god himself. It's not said that no one can concoct the antidote, but I'm afraid it won't be that easy to find the person who concocted the antidote in the ancient god battlefield, right? The young elder said, There aren't any poison masters in the Night King Valley. The poison masters in the ancient god battle are all part of the poison monster, and the powers in the Night King Valley might be able to find them. Although the Night King Valley had already declined, its internal structure did not dissipate. Its information-gathering organization was still the strongest in the ancient god battle. Even Legend Palace would not be able to compare to him. Finding someone was too easy for the Night King Valley. An elder said, Poison Monster had disappeared for dozens of years already. Looking for him would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. The young elder said, They still won't be able to see it. The white-robe receiver said, If you have something to say, just say it. Yes, sir. The young elder bowed and said, Poison Monster is currently in Fairy Grass Valley. I discovered it unintentionally. I believe the people in Night King Valley know about it too, and they will definitely return. All right. The white-robed receiver shouted, Very good. There are millions of ways to the Night King Valley. Even if we can intercept them, it would be very difficult. Although the power of the Night King Valley is declining, we cannot underestimate them. However, there is only one way to the Fairy Grass Valley, and as long as we stop them, they will die without a doubt. The young elder excitedly said, Quite a few elders shot envious gazes at him. It was an honor to be recognized by the envoys of the sky god. If it works, that elder could very likely be the future home master of Legend Palace. The white-gowned oracle said, "All of Legend Palace's personnel, follow your orders. If this matter is handled well, the sky god will definitely reward you handsomely." The young elder immediately said, "This subordinate understands. God's mountain, the residence of the god, child Zhang Wushuang." A faint smile hung on Zhang Wushuang's face, and he said, "Long Fei, you really did not disappoint me, breaking through Devil Island, killing Crown Prince. Ha ha, as fearless as ever. Amazing, amazing. But you have also exposed your current position. It won't be long before those women of yours will appear in front of you." At that time, to die in the hands of his own woman, this feeling, ha ha ha, ha ha. Zhang Wushuang laughed wildly. Just thinking about it made him excited. Of course, Zhang Wushuang understood Long Fei very well, and within a single day, Long Fei would undergo a crazy change. It was hard to kill him with his woman. However, whether it was Long Fei or Long Fei's woman, as long as they met each other, either Long Fei would die, or Long Fei's woman would die. No matter who died, it would be something to be happy about for Zhang Wushuang. At this moment, a servant spoke out. "Elder, there is a man wearing a black robe who wishes to see you." Zhang Wushuang's face recovered, and said, "Did he say who he is?" The servant replied, "No, he just said that he had helped you before, and he said that he is the only person in the world who knows how to cultivate soul controlling." In that instant, Zhang Wushuang's eyes shook and thought, "Destiny God? He really did not die." And then, the corner of Zhang Wushuang's mouth revealed a cold and sinister smile, and said, "Bring him in." Soul controlling. Although he had fused with the fate energy of the Destiny God and obtained the elementary form of soul controlling, he had not made any progress in the cultivation of the soul controlling. He hadn't moved an inch in such a long time. Something must have gone wrong. If he wanted to be above anyone, then he had to grasp 3 types of law energies. He didn't expect. At this time, the Destiny God came. This was simply offering coal in the middle of a snowstorm. 3 laws. It was supreme. Chapter 2011. Endure. Chapter 2011. Endure the death of Crown Prince in the Primordial War. Main Temple. Battleground caused a lot of commotion. It was the same in Night King Valley. 3 days later, the purple-clothed girl came to Night King Valley. However, the valley door was tightly shut. This had never happened before. Night King Valley was like a huge box. If the entrance to the valley was closed, no matter how hard you tried, you would not be able to enter. The door to the Night King Valley had never been closed. The purple-clothed girl stood outside the valley with a hidden lock between her eyebrows, loudly shouting, "Open the door." There was no reaction at all. The purple-clothed girl shouted again, "Open the door." It was the same. There was no response. Wang Tai looked at the pitch-black mountain in front of him and muttered, "Is this the entrance to the main entrance? Why doesn't it look like it? Could it be that I found the wrong place?" Li Yuanba said in a simple and rough manner, as he walked forward and said, "Are you sure this is the main entrance? I can break it." The purple-clothed girl looked at the two of them, as if she was staring at a monster. These past few days, Wang Tai and Li Yuanba had not consumed any healing pellets, but they had. The injuries on their bodies healed as if they had seen a ghost. Especially Li Yuanba. The bones of his feet were broken into countless pieces, and his veins and tendons were all broken. It could be said that he was a cripple, but he was still alive and kicking the next day. There was no sign of injury at all. The whole thing was a freak. Big freak, adding on the huge coffin on his back. Li Yuanba's appearance was really scary. I am afraid. Li Yuanba foolishly took a fancy to the purple-clothed girl and waited for her answer. The purple-clothed girl gently shook her head and said, "No, this isn't an ordinary gate. You won't be able to break it." Then, the purple-clothed girl once again said, "Uncle Heaven's mandate. Can you come out to meet me?" After a long time, A voice came from within the mountain. Young Valley Master, Great Elder has ordered that you are not to enter the valley. From today onwards, you will no longer be a member of the Night King Valley, and your life or death has nothing to do with the Night King Valley. You should leave quickly. The purple-clothed girl frowned. The thing she was worried about had happened after all. I want to meet with Great Elder. F***CK. Li Yuanba rubbed his bald head and said angrily, "You're cutting off all ties just like that?" From within the mountain came the voice of an azure dragon and said, "There's no need for that. From the moment you left the valley on your own accord, you have not been one of Night King Valley's people any longer." The purple-clothed girl raised her eyes and immediately took a step forward. "Uncle Tianming, I am saving my father. I cannot let Night King Valley fall." "Humph. If you don't let the Night King Valley fall, then what are you doing now? You pushed the Night King Valley down a cliff, and even said something about not letting the Night King Valley fall. It's because your Night King Valley had no choice but to close the gate that hasn't been closed for 1,000,000 years, and even said something about not letting the Night King Valley fall. Let's go. Don't appear here again," the old man said solemnly. Wang Tai yelled, "He's your uncle?" Li Yuanba said in a bad mood. "Is there such a thing as an uncle?" The purple-clothed girl held back her tears and escaped from the Night King's token, saying solemnly, "I order you to open the door." The inside of the mountain shook. King of Night Order. Seeing an order was like seeing a Night King. Grand Elder, this. The Night King token is the supreme sacred object in our Night King Valley, and it is even nobler than a blood sacrifice bracelet. We cannot let a single woman take all of it. The Legend Palace has already given the order to kill, and the envoys of the main temple have also intervened. They will definitely not be able to escape death. We can't get involved. We can't let them in. Why don't we do it? Destiny's eyes widened. The elder immediately stopped talking. Night King Valley would never fight. Heaven's Mandate's voice turned heavy as he said, "The King of Night Order belongs to the Night King Valley. You." The purple-clothed girl unwillingly took the blood sacrifice bracelet off her hand and said directly, "We will return the King of Night Order to you. Please let us into the valley. As long as he is well, we will leave immediately." Heaven's Mandate said lightly, "The mind-lost Enig poison has no antidote. He won't be able to recover." The blood sacrifice bracelet. Something left behind by the master. First Elder, that kid is very heavily poisoned anyway. Even if we get the antidote, he might not necessarily live. At that time, he will die in our valley, and then we will hand him over. Isn't that a great contribution? But what if the powerhouse and Legend Palace arrive after they enter the valley? 3 days. I can only let you stay for 3 days. When the time comes, you will definitely leave the valley. No matter what, the purple-clothed girl was a member of the Night King Valley, and she was still young Valley Master. 3 days. This was also the limit of the Night King Valley. The purple-clothed girl said, "All right." At a time like this, they had to find the antidote immediately. Otherwise, Long Fei wouldn't be able to wait so long. Long Fei had saved her before. She would also save Long Fei. Moreover, Crown Prince, Legend Palace, and even Sky God might very well be the culprits behind his father's death. He had found his father's enemy. Long Fei's life was very important. Rumble, rumble. After a wave of 3 bodies moved, a road extended out from the mountain. It was as if he had made a supernatural feat of things. The purple-clothed girl said, "After entering the valley, listen to my orders and don't act recklessly. No matter what grievances I receive, I will endure it all. Do you understand? In order to save Long Fei, you must hold back." Li Yuanba and Wang Tai nodded. The 3 of them entered the valley. After entering the valley, both sides were filled with people pointing at the purple-clothed girl. "It's her. She wants to destroy the Night King Valley. Harmful. She is a scourge. How many people died because of her? Even Coach Nether Enlightenment died. Why aren't you dying?" Many people cursed in low voices, and they were extremely resentful towards the purple-clothed girl. Everything that had happened in the city of martial arts had long ago spread to this place. So many of the Night King Valley's elites had perished, and so many of the Nether slaves dead. They all blamed it on the purple-clothed girl. If it were not for her doubting her search for the 9 reborn spiritual flowers, the Night King Valley would not have fallen to such a state. Legend Palace's domineering suppression. Under the encirclement and annihilation of the various powers, the Night King Valley lost hundreds of elite assassins within a few days. The purple-clothed girl was like a sinner as she slowly walked inside. She owed it. At this moment, one of the people in the crowd threw out an egg. How do you still have the face to live? Why don't you go and die? Pa! The purple-clothed girl didn't dodge. The egg smashed in her head, and the egg flowed on her face. The purple-clothed girl felt a faint pain in her heart. Li Yuanba was furious. The purple-clothed girl immediately sank. Endure it. No matter what people say or do, you have to hold it in, okay? Endure it. Chapter 2012. Yuling Guardian Warrior. Chapter 2012. Yuling Guardian Warrior endure was not an option. However, this was the only thing he could do right now. She was sorry. However, she owed no one. If they could not resist, they would still chase out the Night King Valley. At that time, they would really have nowhere else to go. Long Fei had to be saved first. As someone started to speak, the surrounding people became even more frenzied. Some rotten vegetables and other rotten things were thrown out, and some of the stones were even thrown out. The violet-robed maiden didn't defend at all, allowing those people to throw her as they pleased. Bleeding from the top of his head, Li Yuanba and Wang Tai were both extremely furious, anger erupting from their hearts. In the distance, one of the elders had a cold smile on his face as he looked at the purple-clothed girl slowly walking over. Young Valley Master? Ha ha! Why do I look like a dog? The sound wasn't loud, but everyone in the audience could hear it. Li Yuanba was suddenly enraged. Buzz! The innate divine power in his body shook. Li Yuanba's eyes were like a Vajra's eyes as he roared out. Try saying another word. His voice was like thunder. A powerful burst. The entire valley shook. It instantly quieted down. The elder laughed coldly and said, "One more word? So what if I say 10 more words? She's like a dog. She's like a dog. She's like a dog. Cluck, cluck, cluck." Li Yuanba's fist exploded out. F***CK. He cursed angrily. He was about to charge out, but, however, the purple-clothed girl pulled him back and shouted in a low voice, "Do you still want your boss to go?" The anger in Li Yuanba's heart made him go berserk, his entire body turning red. He also had a bad temper. If he was unhappy, he would beat it. But now, when he thought of his boss, the rage on his body instantly died down. He stared fixedly at the elder. "She's like a dog." The elder said this 10 times with a proud smile. "Do you want me to say it another 10 times? Just say it 100 more times." "Ha ha! She's not only a dog, she's also a bitch." The elder stared coldly at the purple-clothed girl's chest. Cluck, cluck, cluck. He couldn't help it. Li Yuanba's entire body was scarlet red, and smoke was coming out from the top of his head. The young elder said, "What's wrong? Unhappy? Angry? You want to hit me? Come hit me. As long as you dare to touch even a single hair on my head, my father will expel you all from the valley. You will never even step half a step into Night King Valley." The purple-clothed girl said, "Tian Yuan, do you have to do this?" "Ha ha! Ziyu, this is exactly what I want. Seeing your appearance, I don't even know how happy I am." "Ha ha ha!" Tian Yuan laughed out loud. Tian Yuan. With a loud shout, a group of elders walked over. The leader was Heaven's Mandate. He was also the most senior elder in the Night King Valley. He used to be Ziyu's father's most trusted assistant, but now. Ziyu bowed slightly and said, "Uncle Tianming." Heaven's Mandate glanced at Ziyu and said, "In 3 days, this is the limit of the Night King Valley." Ziyu replied, "I know." Tian Yuan said, "Hand over the king of Night Order." "Yes, hand it over first." "Hurry up." The elders pressed forward. Ziyu passed the blood sacrifice bracelet over and said, "I'll give the blood sacrifice bracelet to you guys first." I'll give the King of Night order to you guys when we leave. Uncle Heaven's mandate. Can you lend me a flycatcher? What are you going to do with a piper when you are in the valley? Ziyu didn't conceal anything. I want to make a trip to Fairy Grass Valley. The mind lost in poison's antidote. The space between Destiny's eyebrows tightened. Ziyu understood a lot of things about the primordial divine war, especially some alchemy. She was especially clear about the residences of the experts in poison refinement. She had once visited the poison monster. It's just that at that time, poison monster did not see her. It's for Long Fei, Tian Yuan said. The flycatcher is a divine bird that travels 1,000,000 kilometers per day. Is that something that you can borrow if you want to? Then, Tian Yuan looked at Ziyu and said, it's not impossible for you to want to borrow it. Take off your veil first. Ziyu had been wearing the veil on her face since she was young. Not many in the Night King Valley had seen his face, and Tian Yuan was the same. As far as Ziyu was concerned, she couldn't take off her veil. Her veil was taken off only for her husband. Everyone in the valley knew that. Tian Yuan also knew that letting her take off her veil was just making things difficult for her and playing with her. I heard that your veil was left for your husband. Now, take it off and let us see. Maybe there's a big scar under your veil. Is he ugly? Ha ha! Tian Yuan laughed out loud. Ziyu smiled faintly and said, all right. He extended his hand to remove the purple veil covering his face, revealing a peerlessly beautiful face. Many people in the surrounding area were stunned. Tian Yuan's eyes turned sinister, filled with hatred. He hated Ziyu. He hated Ziyu for rejecting him. Seeing this peerless face, Tian Yuan laughed. Now that you have taken off your veil, does that mean that we can all become your husbands? A ladylike dove. Ha ha, I don't mind. Li Yuanba's fist was about to be crushed. The purple-clothed girl also fiercely grabbed onto him. The purple-clothed girl laughed lightly. You can only remove the veil for your husband. If you remove the veil today, Ziyu will never wear the veil and will never marry. Tian Yuan was stunned. Ziyu said slightly, can you lend me the flycatcher now? Her heart was bleeding. It was as if faith had been ruthlessly trampled upon. She endured. He ruthlessly endured it. Everyone was slightly shocked. Tian Yuan was like a rooster who was defeated, very unhappy, very unhappy. No way. You want to borrow the flycatcher and take off your clothes? Tian Yuan shouted. Li Yuanba said angrily, you've gone too far. He couldn't hold it in anymore. Laozi's going too far. What can you do? Ziyu, take it off. Let us all look at your body. Since you're not going to marry anyone, let us take advantage of you, and let us take a look. Heaven's Mandate also shouted, Tian Yuan, shut up. And then, Heaven's Mandate said, okay, we can lend you the Flying Sparrow, but you cannot leave the Night King Valley. The purple-clothed girl said, only I know Fairy Grass Valley. If I don't go, then I don't care. You can't leave anyway. Heaven forbid Ziyu from leaving. Of course, this was something he had to consider because he knew the Fairy Grass Valley was now an inescapable net. Whoever goes will die. Ziyu was his niece. If nothing had happened, it might have been his daughter-in-law. He felt sorry for this girl. She could not let him die just like that. She could only treat it as doing the last thing for her dead father. Li Yuanba said, I'll go. Draw me a map. I'll go. He then took off the coffin on his back. Long Fei could not take the impact. If anything happened, Long Fei would die without using the antidote. Ziyu had no other choice. All right. Fairy Grass Valley. A childlike person was standing on top of the mountain. Sigh. How much longer do we have to wait? It's been so long, but the boss still hasn't appeared. I wonder how Simple he is doing. Boss, the Holy Spirit really misses you. Chapter 2013, 3 Great Formations. Chapter 2013, 3 Great Formations. Wang Tai, take good care of my sister-in-law. If anyone dares to touch him, kill him. Li Yuanba said heavily. They had all seen Ziyu's suffering. If it wasn't for their boss, he would have really made a move. He couldn't control his temper at all. Wang Tai said, Brotherly, don't worry. I will risk my life to protect eldest brother and eldest sister-in-law. Li Yuanba said, I will hurry back. Ziyu replied indifferently. Be careful along the way. You must be careful of Poison Monster. He has a strange temperament. Fairy Grass Valley's rule is that if you want medicine, you must do one thing for him. If you succeed, you will give it to him. He might have all sorts of difficult problems, so you should be careful. Li Yuanba said, Eldest sister-in-law, you can rest assured. I will definitely bring the antidote back. I'm leaving. Jumping onto the flycatcher, Idea moved to control the flycatcher. He spread his wings and instantly rushed into the clouds, disappearing without a trace. Let's go. Luby left. Just as Li Yuanba left, a disciple reported to him. Tian Yuan laughed coldly and said, He's gone. He'll definitely not be able to return. Right now, what's left is that monster with black bones on its body. Young master, he's just a monster, and isn't he easy to deal with? I just need to find an excuse to call him out and beat him up. I don't believe that he will still be alive after that. One of the lackeys said excitedly, This is the Night King Valley. Tian Yuan said, Don't be anxious. Take your time. Play slowly. A trace of gloominess flashed through Tian Yuan's eyes, and Ziyu's peerlessly beautiful face appeared in his mind, as the corner of his mouth couldn't help but reveal a cold smile. Ziyu, you're mine. Have they left? Heaven's Mandate was also observing. One of the elders replied, Let's go Great Clan Elder. When we make our move, hand Long Fei over and our Night King Valley will be able to protect him. Long Fei's life was very valuable. Not only did Legend Palace want his head, Main Temple also want his head. If he could hand Long Fei over, Night King Valley might even rise to prominence just like that. Heaven's Mandate furrowed his brows as he looked into the distance and fell into deep thought. He wasn't sure. Night King Valley's ancestor, the first Night King, was once the god's #1 assassin and had the highest achievements in the battleground. However, he did not choose to enter the main temple and instead left. The most powerful assassination organization was established during the Ancient War. He could become the most powerful powerhouse below the sovereign, but he didn't. Why is that? Because, back then, he had obtained a prophecy that the current sovereign would be overthrown and the new would live on for eternity. Only the people from the Night King Valley knew about this prophecy. Is it true or false? After countless years, no one could determine. Choose the present or choose the future. He let out a long breath and said, Don't move recklessly. Let Tian Yuan also calm down a little. Yes, sir. The elder left the room. Heaven's Mandate muttered. Father gave me the name Heaven's Mandate, which means to resign himself to the heaven's will. This time, just follow the will of heaven. If I can find the antidote, I will fully support you. If he doesn't return within 3 days, then... Destiny did not continue. Brat, get down here. Fairy Grass Valley on a cliff. The heaven spirit lowered its head to look at the unkempt, jet-black face of the elder in the valley. It smiled and said, I don't think you'll be able to succeed. Poison Monster, refining poison into a devil. At the same time, he was also the #1 poison refiner of the ancient god battle, and he studied poisons with every word. He was also an antidote master. This time, but now he had encountered a big problem: how to use poison against poison. The Poison Monster puffed his beard and glared at the Sky Spirit, saying, How preposterous! My Poison Monster's #1 poison master. I don't believe you. As long as I succeed in forging the pill, I will use poison to attack the poison pill. As long as you succeed, I will pass on to you the secret recipe for the mortal pill. All right, it's a deal. Then, Poison Monster turned and entered the cave. The Celestial Spirit turned to look at the mountain range and muttered, How can I wait here? Boss, when will you be here? In 8 King Kong, everyone's location was different. When the Holy Spirit came out of hell, it came to Fairy Grass Valley. He was neither a human nor a ghost. His physique that was neither a demon nor a demon immediately attracted the attention of the Poison Monster, and, at the same time, the mortal pill on his back made him even more excited. In this period of time, he had been in secluded meditation on how to turn the poison into an antidote. The heavenly spirit was also living in the fairy grass valley, waiting for Long Fei's appearance. Originally, everything was very calm, but in the past few days, a group of mysterious people had appeared outside the fairy grass valley, and they had cultivated to a very strong level. Another set of techniques has been completed. Against whom? Poison monster? It doesn't look like it. Furthermore, the poison monster never leaves the valley. This kind of formation cannot deal with him. The heavenly spirit's eyebrows were locked. These formations do not seem like they are meant to deal with demon beast. Against people? Against whom? The formations were very strong, and each of them had different strengths. The formations contained an extremely strong, killing intent. Other than that, these people who had set up the formation were also experts amongst experts. When a heavenly spirit came to the ancient god battle, he had never seen so many experts appearing at once. The sun was setting. The celestial spirit breathed out a long sigh of relief as he watched the sun set. You're not here again. How long are you going to wait? How boring. It seems like I'm going to slaughter everyone together with boss. That's more like it. His figure moved. He was like a ghost, falling back into the valley in the blink of an eye. It disappeared in the blink of an eye. The current sky spirit was completely different from the previous one. The power of the Yuling guardian warrior exploded throughout the infernal realm. At night, it was his world. Lord, the little boy on top of the mountain has disappeared. When did such an expert come to Poison Monster's side? No matter what, our target is Long Fei. The young valley master of the Night King Valley did not come. The one who came was the great Vajra Li Yuanba, who was standing beside Long Fei. Then let's kill him first. As long as he can't bring back the mind-lost poison's antidote, Long Fei will definitely die. Once we finish him off, we can go to the Night King Valley. Understood. 3 great formations. Entering meant death. The person who laid the array was the Grand Master of the Legend Palace, reputed to be the #1 array master of the ancient war god, God's array presbyter. Similarly, he was also the young elder of the Legend Palace. This time he was going all out. If he succeeded, he would soar into the sky. Midnight. The sparrow spread its wings and approached. The sensing formation activated. God's array presbyter's eyes lit up. They're here. At the same time, inside Fairy Grass Valley, the heavenly spirit eyes opened. The King Kong Chi, Brother Yuan Ba, is here. Chapter 2014, Abnormal. Chapter 2014, Abnormal. After the journey to hell and the 8 King Kong, they were able to sense each other's strength and aura, as well as the connection that existed between them in the first place. The 8 ancient heaven pillar S, power of 8 different attributes. Mysterious, yet powerful. When Li Yuanba got close to the Fairy Grass Valley, the heavenly spirit sensed a familiar aura that was 100 miles away. He immediately stood up and seemed to be overjoyed. Brother Yuan Ba is here. Ha! I'm finally here. Brother Yuan Ba will definitely find boss. Boss. Thinking of Long Fei, the heavenly spirit couldn't help but become excited. Thinking of the past when he was so arrogant, acting as if he didn't want to accept it, and did it even if he didn't want to win, his blood started to boil. Boss, this time we're coming back from hell. We won't be like the last time. He had sufficient confidence in the power that he now controlled. Suddenly, the space between his eyebrows tightened. Brother Yuan Ba came to Fairy Grass Valley? He doesn't know where I am. Why is that? Could it be the boss is in trouble? Papa, it's just my crow's beak. With his godly powers, how could anything happen to unrivaled super hottie? The sky spirit walked out in a hurry. He was very clear about what kind of place the Fairy Grass Valley was. Everyone who came to the Fairy Grass Valley came for the poison monster's poison or for the antidote. However, there were very few people who could obtain the antidote from the poison monster because they could not complete his mission at all. It was also at this moment. The sky spirit frowned. The arrangement of the Fairy Grass Valley's 3 great formations, that is to say, no way. In that instant, the sky spirit shuddered, and at the same time, his killing intent began to soar. I don't care who you are, but if you were to make a move on my King Kong, I'll make sure you won't be able to do anything to ghosts. Whoosh! His figure disappeared. No matter whether or not the three formations were used against Li Yuanba, the Sky Spirit would never let Li Yuanba be injured, because they were brothers. Li Yuanba looked at the valley in the darkness far away, and the aura of his divine power was especially strong. He then looked at the stars in the sky and muttered, "It should be the fairy grass valley up ahead. We've finally arrived. Boss, don't worry. No matter what price I have to pay, I will get the antidote back for you." Li Yuanba clenched his fists tightly. The idea moved to control the sparrow. Speed up. He did not sense the existence of the heavenly spirit. It was also because he did not have the mood to sense it. All he was thinking about right now was Long Fei. He would go back earlier and get the antidote earlier. He did not sense the 8 King Kong's special aura. In the darkness, a voice rang out. "He's here." The corners of God's Array Presbyter's lips curled up as he coldly laughed. "I'll let you experience the power of the number 1 formation master of the primordial war." As soon as he finished, the man's forehead twitched and his aura shot out like a spirit serpent. Buzz! The power that erupted from the sky was like an invisible firework exploding. At the same time, the ground began to move crazily. The energy exploded within the area, forming a thick barrier. Buzz! A loud explosion resounded. The flycatcher below Li Yuanba suddenly dropped down. Buzz! Li Yuanba himself also felt as if his body weighed 1,000,000 kilograms in an instant. He couldn't control his falling speed. Boom! Poochie! The flying bird landed on the ground, its entire body sticking to the ground. Its body immediately exploded, not from being smashed to death, but from being crushed to death by this extremely strong gravitational force. Li Yuanba was also unable to hold on. Every step he took felt like he was stepping on 10,000 kilograms. Gravity spell formation. This wasn't normal gravity. It was 100 times gravity that surpassed the ancient god battle plane. Any beast or bird that entered the gravity array wouldn't be able to move and would be crushed to death if they did. The sparrow was also a high-level flying war pet, but it could not hold on for even a second and was crushed into a pool of blood. Although Li Yuanba was not injured, his internal organs were being squeezed, and it looked as if it could explode at any time. Ha! What fierce person with such explosive fighting strength? It's nothing much. Lord, in your formation, he is like a weak ant, unable to withstand a single blow. A few servants laughed and said. The God's Array Presbyter gave a faint smile and said, "The 100 times gravity formation is constantly pressing down, and the gravity is also constantly increasing. No one can withstand the pressure of the ancient god battle. The first formation master isn't just for show. As long as we capture him, we can charge towards the Night King Valley and take down Long Fei's head. You have done a great service in front of the main temple, the Sky God." Thinking of this, God's Array Presbyter could not help but reveal a proud smile. All of this wasn't far from him. It was as if he could just rub his hands in front of him. The gravity was still superimposing. Suddenly, Li Yuanba did not continue walking forward, but suddenly sat cross-legged. This change made many people laugh. He can't hold on. He can't hold on. Haha. So what if he was big? Furthermore, I was unable to withstand it. I had thought that he would be extremely powerful, but it turns out that he is actually a piece of trash. Exactly. A trash like him dares to go against our legend palace? You're courting death. Everyone mocked. God's Array Presbyter sneered. No matter how Li Yuanba resisted, he could not withstand the increasing gravity. In the end, he would become a pool of blood. No one could withstand it, and no one could break the formation. However, he did not understand Li Yuanba. He didn't understand his strength, his cultivation, and the unique constitution he possessed. Who is he? Holy King Kong. In other words, he was a pure warrior who did not rely on any mana to release skills. He trained in strength. It was his physique. Also, his body was so strong that it could explode at any moment. As he sat cross-legged, Li Yuanba adjusted and regulated his breathing, at the same time allowing his own body to become accustomed to the gravity within the gravitational space. In just half a minute, Li Yuanba opened his eyes and suddenly stood up. A light flashed in his eyes. In that instant, he took a step forward, his body moving like lightning, a step forward. Fast. It was too fast. He couldn't see it clearly at all. God's array presbyter's expression darkened. His entire body shook his head and said, "Impossible, this is impossible. It's impossible to travel at such a fast speed in 100 times gravity formation." In the distance, a few of the elders from the Legend Palace also had cold looks in their eyes. They were well aware of the array power of the god's array presbyter, to be able to adjust his body to such a state in half a minute. An old man said, "Either this person is crazy or this person is a monster, a perverted monster." The formation didn't break, but it was as if Li Yuanba had walked on flat ground. It did not have any effect. His fleshly body, how strong was he? Let alone 100 times gravity space, even 10,000 times? So what? Chapter 2015, Scarlet Demon Flame Beast. Chapter 2015, Scarlet Demon Flame Beast. Everyone in Legend Palace was shocked. Everyone was at a loss. God's array presbyter is the array that the #1 formation master of the ancient god battlefield really that weak? Is there a problem with the formation? The first thing God's array presbyter thought of was that there was a problem with the array. Because 100 times gravity, no one could possibly have such speed. What made him even more suspicious was that Li Yuanba was not only fast, but also faster than he used to be. One of the servants lowered his head and submissively replied, "Sir, there is no problem with the formation." God's array presbyter frowned and said solemnly, 100 times gravity isn't able to suppress you, right? Then let's do it with 1,000 times gravity. I don't believe that my array formation can't stop you. As long as you don't break the formation, you won't be able to escape from me. God's array presbyter's eyes shook. The spirit chi on his body fiercely exploded out. Buzz, buzz, buzz. One force after another surged into the gravity array. As he continued to raise the gravitational power within the formation with his divine power. Rumble! A loud sound echoed out. The god's array presbyter's power suddenly broke. The entire mountain shook. What happened? What's going on? Such a powerful explosion of energy. Could that big guy be dead? That must be it. God's array presbyter was also confused. What's going on? One of the servants ran back hurriedly and said, my lord, my lord, my lord, gravity, gravity formation." "Pa, you won't say anything? Straighten your tongue before you speak." God's array presbyter slapped his face and shouted all sorts of words. The servant slapped his face and quickly said, "Sir, the gravity array has been broken by that large man's fist." This time, he didn't stutter, he thought. However, just as he finished speaking, God's array presbyter slapped him again, causing him to fall to the ground. Impossible. If we want to break the array, we must find a formation aperture. He couldn't even find a formation aperture. How can we break the array? He didn't believe it. He was also quickly rushing over. The formation aperture was intact. But when God's array presbyter released the array once again, a big hole appeared at the side of the array barrier. This was not done using the divine sword or blade, because the sword or blade would not be able to create such a hole. This power, God's array presbyter felt his scalp go numb. He had collected information about Li Yuanba before, so he didn't really believe that he could destroy his defenses against the boundary with a single punch. However, his array's defense is much stronger than the defensive boundary S of the underground boxing arena. But, so what? It was still broken. Li Yuanba never thought that this place had already been set up like an inescapable trap. He thought that this was only the fairy grass valley's defensive array. Quickly rushing towards the valley, Li Yuanba muttered, "Breaking through his array, you won't offend him, right? However, this formation is too boring. One fist is enough to break it." The reason why he had such a pained expression at the start was because he had suddenly entered the gravitational space at 100 times gravity. His body was different from others and could adjust itself. Moreover, his physical body could still heal itself, and he had been heavily injured in the city of martial arts. His body had fully recovered in less than a day. Thus, he had told Long Fei before that he would not die. If God's Array Presbyter were to hear his words, he would definitely vomit blood and die. The punch shattered. There was no effect at all from 100 times gravity. This was too much of a blow. The bitter cultivation in the infernal realm was much stronger than this kind of gravitational space. Just the gravity in the infernal realm itself was more than 100 times that. Although the array was broken, the God's Array Presbyter was not discouraged, because he believed that he could definitely take Li Yuanba's life. "Sir, enter the array again." As soon as he finished, God's Array Presbyter's eyes flashed with a trace of dark light. The corners of his mouth curled up, and he became excited. "Berserk beast formation. I want to see how you'll break it this time." Roar. A furious roar. The entire mountain range shook. The sky shook and the ground quaked. At the same time, Li Yuanba raised his eyes slightly and looked at the 100-meter-tall beast. Its entire body was scarlet red and entered an extremely berserk state. Its two lantern-like eyes were also fixated on Li Yuanba, who was on the ground. Holy sh**t. What a big beast. Boss would definitely like it when he sees it, but Li Yuanba didn't even know that he had once again entered into the array. Looking at the berserk red beast, Li Yuanba said, "You should get out of the way, otherwise I will beat you to death. If this guy is the warden of Fairy Grass Valley, wouldn't killing him be offending him? Aren't you unable to get the antidote?" Li Yuanba was worried about this. However, before he could finish his sentence, the scarlet beast was enraged and heavily trampled down with its right foot. Boom! Li Yuanba's eyes moved, and in a flash, he flew to the other side, looking at his original position that had already become a few meters deep pit. "Hey, I warned you. Don't force me to make a move," Li Yuanba shouted, not waiting for him to finish. Another stomp. An old man walked in front of God's Array Presbyter and asked, "Where did you get the scarlet demon flame beast from?" God's Array Presbyter smiled and said, "A dark place." The old man shivered. God's Array Presbyter said, "He's dead for sure." The old man nodded. It should be impossible to escape. The red devil flame beast was an extremely powerful beast, and he had a special ability. As he was speaking to them, Li Yuanba was also enraged. "Give me one. Give me two. I will not give you three. Lousy has given you face, right?" He took a step forward. He leaped into the air and punched towards the head of the red devil flame beast like a hammer. Boom! The scarlet demon flame beast's body fell to the ground with a loud bang and was killed instantly. Not even able to withstand a single blow, Li Yuanba muttered, "I told you not to provoke me. This is the result of disobeying orders." The corners of God's Array Presbyter's mouth hooked up in a smile as the power within the formation moved. Boom! One scarlet demon flame beast became two, and the explosive strength from their bodies also increased. This was its perverse nature. Body separation. And the more he killed, the more he killed, the more he killed. Seeing that the array formation had suddenly turned into two scarlet demon flame beasts, Li Yuanba turned around and looked at the two identical beasts. He can transform. Interesting. In that instant, Li Yuanba rushed forward. Boom, boom. Like lightning, two strikes were sent out. It was the same as before, instant kill. However, this time, 4 red demon flames appeared within the spell formation. Even the people from the Legend Palace were stunned. God's Array Presbyter laughed. "What is a berserk beast formation?" "This is the berserk beast formation." Li Yuanba stroked his bald head, becoming even more excited. At this time, a voice resounded in his mind. "King Kong, do you need my help?" You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.